Hopefully this all still just goes.
No, Renee and me, I'm not going to set the timer. I can if you want, but...
Join without video. Yes.
Ding dong. What avatar we got today, Sheepy?
Hopefully this all still just goes.
No,
Oh,
Renee and me,
today
I'm
I've got
not
a
going to
cool one.
set the timer.
I haven't loaded it yet. I'm about to.
That was me.
Yeah, just gotta mute myself.
Yeah, that one there's okay, the sheeping.
So can Scott still speak to us through you, Terry, or?
Yeah. But I don't know what the settings were before where Scott could hear yous guys. Scott, can you hear Sheepy?
Only through YouTube.
Oh, yeah, but I can hit the switch here. Now you should be able to hear Sheepy.
Can you hear me?
No.
Okay, it's not that one.
No, hear me.
Try again, try that one.
Can you hear me?
People need sleep. No, I didn't hear that.
Now you can hear you.
I'm not sleepy. I'm ready to rock. I've been waiting to use this avatar since the other day, and I wasn't for the show. I wasn't in the show, so.
So you can hear him now, Scott.
No.
You couldn't hear him.
Size is not good. I think he's messing with me, Terry.
No, I don't. I need to be honest because I'm fiddling around. I'm pressing B1 or B2 because I forget which one it is. I don't know if it's that one or the other one.
Well, you keep pushing buttons, and I'll let you know when I can hear you.
Well, that means shit.
All right,
you'd have to monologue.
I'll just sing. I'll just sing or talk normally. Yes. Well, I cleaned my yard today. Should always clean your yard sooner than later, otherwise it becomes a bigger job.
Yes, it does. It's like mowing the lawn,
yeah,
mowing the yard. You know,
mowing the yard, and then like the outlay, but with the weeds and stuff grow. If you don't let kill them off, they get stronger, right? And stronger and stronger, and it's like, oh no.
When you got to use a chainsaw instead of a lawnmower.
yeah, I know. You know how much you don't visit when all of a sudden you've got a prickle bush the size of your fence. You're like, oh, I guess I'll let that get away from me.
When you think Hansel and Gretel are leaving breadcrumb trails through your backyard so they don't get lost.
Yeah, I tell you, it was a lesson in procrastination, and to have less of it, that's for sure. But in the south here, it grows so much faster than when I lived in the north. So, it's just like if in the north you go to wait like a month, and because of the weird weather, it was like, you'd have 10, not even like 8 centimeters of grass, but down here you can grow a small tree in a month.
Yeah.
It's like, it's madness. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. But today I put the effort in, and it's looking good. So I got a whole bunch of people coming to my house next week for a cup day, a horse racing day here in Christchurch. Normally we go to the stadium, but we're not sponsors this year, so we're having it at home at my house. So I got a whole bunch of nosy people coming who've never been to my house. Gotta be everything's got to be beautiful. It's like,
Well, the quiz today is purely on physics.
Oh shit!
And there's some calculations to do.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! I hope we got.
This will sort them out.
I hope we got Clive. 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 I hope we got I'll secretly message Clive and be like, Clive, give me the answer. I need to blow these people away today.
Yeah, what happened there?
What happened where? Oh, I just dropped out and came back in to see if it reset the sound.
Yeah.
It's probably just something simple why you guys aren't hearing. Well, you're not hearing people on here.
Well, whatever you did before was fine. I could hear
I am
everyone,
here.
but since you dropped out, no.
Oh well, I might have had a different setting then.
Okay.
I might have had it on that one. Well, so you could
Setting.
so you were hearing them, and I went and fiddled around, and now I've lost it.
Yep.
Oh, that's what I was. You're supposed to tell me these things.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Today, do I have to tell you about my garden again? All right.
Yeah, because I should be lighting up when people talk.
Light up.
No, I'm not lighting up. Okay, so that means...
You're not lighting up.
No.
I'm lighting up.
So that means... I'll put that back to where I had it. Because Scott was screwing around with me. I'll disconnect and reconnect.
Oh, you're back.
There we go.
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you.
So it's B2. Say something, Sheepy?
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're live.
You're live.
So I'm telling everyone about my bloody garden.
Yeah, so it's B... so it's
How
on
about the horse?
So I've got that setting.
Bloody hell.
I'll leave that
A
setting.
little bit of
as it is.
warning.
Oh, it wasn't anything to worry about. I just wanted to make sure I had the B2. I don't know if it was B2 or B1. Because B1 doesn't do anything.
Mm.
Oh, it does. So you're actually coming through on either one. But I don't know which one's the best one. I'm just going to have to leave it for now.
Well, everyone knows now about how well things grow down here in the south.
I'll leave it on B1.
Normally I have YouTube open, Terry, and I can see when we go live, but...
Oh, okay.
Oh, well.
Everybody's sound is well balanced. It works. Sounding like an all go for us peanuts. Has anyone seen White House dumps spiritual advisor? Yeah, how's the elections going? Anyone figured it out yet?
I told us yesterday.
Yeah, they got all sorts of things happening last time I checked into it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
It looks as though Biden can take 3 states. And if you only need to take one of them to claim the presidency.
Yes, Phil, I do have a video ready
Yeah.
from Lindsay, so you didn't need to post it. It'll all be happening soon.
I think they're recounting Georgia, though, and Nevada's been looked at again. That's why there's a pause. There's a whole bunch of votes that they can't verify. They're going through a curing process. And I don't know about Pennsylvania, but yeah, it's certainly not clear cut. I mean, I was like, oh, 4 times, all these votes went to Biden. It was an error. Sorry about that, So,
is it the way they do their voting? It's such a mix-up, or is it? I don't know.
No, Terry, there's some weird things happening. People who were born in 1920 registered in 1900 and were voting. People who have been dead for 118 years were voting.
What? Where did that come from?
I mean, there's all this there's all these claims it's not real, but if you look into it, it's well and truly established. I can't remember where.
And this is to do with their computer-operated voting system, isn't it?
It's to do with the people filling out fraudulent names. Basically, some ballots were already filled in and with information, and people coming forward saying, "I got this ready to go. All I was told to do was mail it. I've torn it. You know,
so if they had a system similar to how we do our electorates, where you actually go into a local place, you get your name ticked off and everything because you're a registered voter.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Well, that's how it normally is, I think, Terry. But the fact that the COVID lockdowns and things, the mail-in voting became the way to do it. But yeah, there you go. Supreme Court in Pennsylvania ordered to separate, namely all that ballots received by mail after 8 p.m. on November 3rd be segregated and kept in secure, safe, and sealed containers separate from the other voter ballots. So all 3 states that Biden is winning now are either getting recounted or under investigation. So it's far from over, that's for sure. That's a Supreme Court ruling as of today. Yeah. So they've got till tomorrow to reply at 2 p.m. So that's there's obviously something going down. I mean, they're finding ballots for the military in dumpsters. They're finding all sorts of things. So yeah, it's bloody interesting. I mean, in New Zealand, our population is so small. We knew that Jacinda was going to, run it, be the prime minister again in the same day.
Okay.
So it's a lot. It's a lot easier, right? I mean, I don't know for Australia, it might take a few days, right? Because you got 25 million people or something. But for us, yeah, it was.
No, we usually find out by that evening.
Usually about midnight we know who's going to be prime minister, or in some cases 10 o'clock even. It just depends on how close the race is.
Like you hear about who wins the seat of a certain area, who voted for who, your local members and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of just they never call it like America does. Like 6 minutes after California voting's booths closed, they gave it to Biden. They gave Arizona at 1% to Biden. So it's like what? How? How are you going to count all those things? And Arizona's come forward and said, look, we're not calling it. Other people have called it. There's some news agencies out there that haven't called any of the states, or most of the states, but the Associated Press are the worst. They've already called multiple states that are still in contention. So.
Surf's saying we're going.
But as soon as they're finished, they're going to be recounting anyway. So.
Yeah, that might be through Scott, Surf. Oh, Scott's muted and deafened now. I don't need that now. We can turn that off. We can turn that off. Oh, I'll leave it on for now. Just let us know if there's still an echo or not, even though Scott's deafened. Oh, Mosul, oh, I am. I'm echoing, repeating. I have an echo. Okay, I'll turn that one off. I'll put that one on. Let us know if there's still an echo or not. You have an echo, Scott. Well, I just changed the banana setting, so we'll just see if the echo goes away.
Mirror.
I don't hear it right
another
now.
conspiracy theory.
It's okay.
Oh, I think I just echoed for a second.
Were you echoing when I was talking?
My last sentence when I said it echoed. Not now.
No, I don't hear it right now.
Mirror
So
said,
saying I don't have it.
Another conspiracy theory. Yeah, the difference, Miro, between flat Earth and this one is that there's actually things to go on. There's actually things to look at and test. So It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. I mean, certainly strange. A whole bunch of 90-plus-year-old people signed to vote, and now they're asking for those people to bring forth their IDs.
I wonder how many people
So,
this is actually affecting the voting. Like, is it millions, or is it a couple of 100,000, or don't know.
Oh yeah, there's some places where they've got voting booths like 212% turnout. So how yeah, 112% more than was meant to go through their ballot. So
how do they work that out?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the mainstream news, like all the rest of it, you're going to hear total just dismissal, except the certain bits of media are getting through. I find it interesting. The dismissal before even looking at it, the hand wave dismissal, and then all of a sudden now there's a Supreme Court ruling. So obviously there was something there, otherwise they're throwing it out, right? So Georgia has to recount, Arizona's going to recount, Nevada's been under scrutiny. These things are actually happening if you look outside of your CBS's and your Fox's and your whatever, I can't even know them all. They're all the letter agencies of the news. Miro is telling me bullshit, but I guess that's your opinion. Supreme Court ruling is a Supreme Court ruling, so.
No, I haven't even looked at
I
anything.
have a copy.
I haven't even looked at
I have a
anything
copy of
lately
it.
on the YouTubes about any of the voting stuff yet. Not today, anyway.
I watched this one interview. I think it was Nevada. Someone in Nevada was being interviewed, and he said all the numbers. He said all the ballot numbers and the current count and everything, and then he was proceeded, to give question time to the reporters, and they asked him each one over and over again. So how many votes is it? And the next one was like, so how many votes is it? And the guy just like slowly but surely losing patience. As I said before, it was really funny.
Don't make me repeat myself.
Yeah, it was really, really funny.
Well, it looks like we might get into the topic. Unless we've got any other gossip out there. I know Peter's out in the peanut gallery. He's always full of gossip.
Oh, Peter. Yeah.
Peter should come on and tell us all his latest gossip.
Yeah. When the flat earthers ask about sky rotation or deny star rotation, sorry, I refer them to Peter's southern sky. Often they go very silent after that theory. It's really weird because they deny it happened outright until I show them Peter's video, and then to top it off, I give them Alan's video that has Peter's video in it as well. So then you've got the north and the south. Really, silent after that.
I heard one of the most stupidest things I've heard lately anyway. I think it was from Aaron, Face One. He was saying the conversation was something about why is there so many photography or photographs, something for the northern, something to do with the northern hemisphere side of it. And goes, yes, because there's more people on the northern hemisphere side than the southern hemisphere. He answered his own question when he didn't even think about what he was saying.
Yeah, no, it's I got no patience for that guy. to be honest, Terry.
Yeah, well, it's not so much him. It's just the premise of the questions that always come out from the flat earthers side. Everything's northern hemisphere biased. It's the amount of people, the amount of flat earthers, the observations, the whole thing.
Oh yeah. It's just his drunken rambling, and then he speaks through every speaker. I don't know if you've experienced that, Paul.
What's that?
When Aaron in Gem Server, when you're talking, he just speaks through you after he asks you a question.
Yeah, you know? They all do it. They all do it. They ask you a question and demand an answer, and then while you're giving your answer, they interrupt and talk over you and make funny noises, and you know, like they're not interested in adult conversation.
Yeah. I think Boggs has given you an answer in the chat, Paul.
Oh, cool. Let's have a look. He is correct as well. Well done.
Only thing Peter's given us is Kyle did not hand anything in that the judge asked for. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Kyle.
Really?
The judge wanted him to hand some stuff. You know, remember that? And so he didn't actually hand anything in. Oh, that's not going to go down well. And what's the other bit of news that's out there? I'm trying to remember now what else we follow. Oh, Brim Fondle's here. We can start now. Just wait for the stragglers to turn up. Hope my eyes are going to be able to do this tonight.
Everybody hit that like button.
Yes. Either one doesn't matter really to the algorithm.
Well, the dislike button doesn't work.
I got 17 watching and only 6 thumbs up. You'd think that at least to be at least 10 thumbs up. Who hasn't thumbed up out there?
Oh. Someone
That's 7.
I got 9 at this.
Oh, we got 8. We got 8. Well, I can thumb up myself. That'll make it 9.
It was 9. It was. Oh, there's 10.
Oh no, I got a thumb down. Who did the thumb down? Who was it?
Oh, that'll be Peter.
Put your hand up.
Peter, stop your shenanigans.
It's usually Globey that does that. I bet you Globey's watching, but he hasn't written in the chat yet. We broke the 11. I only said 10. Oh, you have 10 and 1, Terry. Okay.
Oh, convenient that he sees that you've got 1.
Yeah, well, now it's gone to 13. Peter, put your socks away.
16-0. I got 16-0.
Not me. What, you didn't do one, Scott? It wasn't me.
Jeez, Terry.
What happened?
With numbers like that.
Now that you've guilt tripped us.
What?
Now that you've guilt tripped us.
Yeah, that's
with
it.
Numbers numbers like that, Terry, I've got a new theme song for your channel.
Well, I got a 2
come on, we gotta get
Look, they're playing around with the thumbs up and thumbs down. It's going up and down, up and down, back to front. Okay,
yeah,
I'll ignore that.
They're like fluid, Terry.
Oh,
they don't know which they are.
No, well, they're peanuts. They could be salty or not. Okay, what am I sharing here?
Oh no, the plane's back, Terry. I'm mesmerised by the stunts it does.
Oh yeah, Paul's got the plane going here. Same plane.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, where's me?
You don't realise that it's an actual like a full plane, like at first glance, right? And then it comes down, you're like, oh my goodness.
Well, it can't be half a plane.
Well, it could be a tiny little plane, you know.
Oh, did it go through the cloud, or did it just do a bit of a There, there it goes. It's doing a vapor trail, contrail.
Yeah, lets the smoke out, right? But they have RC planes that have those little things on it. They can let them out. So.
All right, what do we got here? We're up to the history of the automobile with the Industrial Revolutions. And we need to transition that so the peanuts can see. I'm about done with Flat Earth. They bore me. I went through the same thing with the epic failure regarding the Planet X nonsense. Oh yeah, that. Yeah, I remember that. Just a bunch of foolish people acting foolish. Well, that's why you just come here and me. We talk about the derp and Flat Earth and other crap, but we don't let it rule our lives, so to speak. If only real helis could do the same. Oh yeah, the radio control helicopters. Shit, they can do some acrobatics with them things. I haven't seen a real helicopter do it, but
no, and you ain't getting me riding in that helicopter if it attempts it. That's for sure.
Okay, what do we got here? We've got table of contents, internal combustion engine, heart of the automobile, importance of Nicholas Otto, Carl Benz, Gottlieb Daimler, Rene Panhard, Emily Vassia, Levasseur, Charles and Frank Dervier, Ransom, Ellie Oles, and Henry Ford, which all contributed. But Nicholas Otto, is the, you could say, the innovator of the engine, that internal combustion engine, as what they had back then compared to what we got, which we'll get to after. But his was the basis of the design of an internal combustion engine. So this is by Mary Bellis. But it's okay, we can read that. The very first self-powered road vehicles were powered by steam engines, obviously. That's what we've gone through, that one. And by that definition, Nicolas Joseph Cugnot of France built the first automobile in 1769. Yeah. Recognised by the British Royal Automobile Club and the Automotive Club de France as being the first. So why does so many history books say that the automobile was invented by either Gottlieb Daimler or Carl Benz? It's because both Daimler and Benz invented highly successful and practical gasoline-powered vehicles that ushered in the age of modern automobiles. Daimler and Benz invented cars that looked and worked like the cars we use today. However, it is unfair to say that either man invented the automobile. Shouldn't the brackets be around the word invented, not the? I don't know. Just the way I thought it would be. Internal combustion engine, the heart of the automobile. An internal combustion engine is an engine that uses the explosive combustion of fuel to push a piston within a cylinder. The piston's movement turns a crankshaft and then turns the car wheels via a chain or drive shaft. The different types of fuel commonly used for car combustion engines are gasoline or petrol, diesel and kerosene. A brief outline of the history of the internal combustion engine includes the following highlights. Okay, we've got all these dates to go through here. 1680, Dutch physicist Christian Huygens designed, but never built, an internal combustion engine that was to be fueled with gunpowder. Oh, that'd be explosive, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd go off with a
bang. Bang.
Yeah. Well, it didn't say it got built. It was an idea. Francos, Isaac de Rivaz of Switzerland invented an internal combustion engine that used a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen for fuel. Rivaz designed a car for his engine, the first internal combustion powered automobile. However, his was a very unsuccessful design. Hydrogen cars did work, and that was back in 1807. 1824, English engineer Samuel Brown adapted an old Newcomen steam engine to burn gas, and he used it to briefly power a vehicle up Shooters Hill in London. Yeah, they got the old steam engines. They pulled all the bits off that they didn't need for it to work as a steam engine, and see if they could work it as a petrol-powered car or whatever they used, or the kerosene ones, or gas. But the internal components of the piston and those parts didn't really like the the combustion part of the fuel because it burnt away. It was only designed for steam, not for fuel, that's for sure. We can always still laugh and point. That bit never gets old. People say things in this peanut gallery and I'm missing out on it. Where are we? 1858, sorry. Belgian-born engineer Jean Joseph Antoine Lenoir invented and patented in 1860 a double-acting electric spark ignition internal combustion engine, fueled by cold gas. In 1863, Lenoir attached an improved engine using petroleum and a primitive carburetor to a three-wheeled wagon that managed to complete an historic 50-mile road trip. Oh, that's not too bad. 1862, Alphonse Baudin, these bloody European names, I can't pronounce any of them. Roches, a French civil engineer, patented but did not build a four-stroke engine. French patent number something 1862. 1864, Austrian engineer Siegfried Marcos built a one-cylinder engine with a crude carburetor and attached his engine to a cart for a rocky 500-foot drive. Several years later, Marcos designed a vehicle that briefly ran at 10 miles an hour, which a few historians have considered as the forerunner of the modern automobile by being the world's first gasoline-powered vehicle. However, read conflicting notes below. Okay, I would have to look into that one. 1873, George Brayton, an American engineer, developed an unsuccessful two-stroke kerosene engine. It used two external pumping cylinders. However, it was considered the first safe and practical oil engine, even though it says unsuccessful. 1866, German engineers Eugene Langen and Nicholas August Otto improved on Lenoir's and Roquet's designs and invented a more efficient gas engine, which is the Otto. Nicholas August Otto is the Otto cycled engine, which we can talk about after. 1876, Nicholas August Otto invented and later patented a successful four-stroke engine known as the Otto cycle. Yeah, that's what I was saying. 1876, the first successful two-stroke engine was invented by Sir Dugald Clark. 1883, French engineer. There's another bloke with that weird spelling. Edouard, that's got an O there. Delminaire, de Boutville, built a single-cylinder four-stroke engine that ran on stove gas. It is not certain if he did indeed build a car. However, Delmar's designs were very advanced for the time, ahead of both Daimler and Benz in some ways, at least on paper. Okay, 1885. Now here we are with Gottlob Daimler. Invented what is often recognised as the prototype of the modern gas engine, with a vertical cylinder and with gasoline injected through a carburetor, patented in 1887. Daimler first built a two-wheeled vehicle, the Reitwagen riding carriage, with this engine, and a year later built the world's first four-wheeled motor vehicle. 1886. On January 29, Carl Benz received the first patent for a gas-fueled car. 1889, Daimler built an improved four-stroke engine with mushroom-shaped valves and two V-slant cylinders. Oh, it's the first slant 2 or V-slant. Yeah, that'll be like a Harley motor. 1890, Willem Maybach built the first four-cylinder four-stroke engine. Okay. Engine design and car design were integral activities. Almost all the engine designers mentioned above also designed cars, and a few went on to become major manufacturers of automobiles. All of these inventors and more made notable improvements in the evolution of internal combustion vehicles. Okay. Now, the importance of Nicholas Otto. One of the most important landmarks in engine designs comes from Nicholas August Otto, who in 1876 invented an effective gas motor engine. Otto built the first practical first-stroke internal combustion engine called the Otto cycle engine. And as soon as he had completed his engine, he built it into a motorcycle. Otto's contributions were very historically significant. It was his four-stroke engine that was universally adopted for all liquid-fueled automobiles going forward. Carl Benz. In 1885, German mechanical engineer Carl Benz designed and built the world's first practical automobile to be powered by an internal combustion engine. January 29, 1896, Benz received the first patent for a gas-fueled car. It was a three-wheeler. Benz built his first four-wheeled car in 1891. Benz and the company started by the inventor, became the world's largest manufacturer of automobiles by 1900. Benz was the first inventor to integrate an internal combustion engine with a chassis, designing both together. Okay, Gottlieb Daimler. In 1885, Gottlieb Daimler, together with his design partner William Maybach, took Otto's internal combustion engine a step further and patented what is generally recognised as the prototype of the modern gas engine. Daimler's connection to Otto was a direct one. Daimler worked as a technical director of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last bit, Deutsche Gasmotorenfabrik, which Nicholas Otto co-owned in 1872. There was some controversy as to who built the first motorcycle, Otto or Daimler. The 1985 Daimler Maybach engine was small, lightweight, fast, used a gasoline-injected carburetor, and had a vertical cylinder. The size, speed and efficiency of the engine allowed for a revolution in car design. On March 8, 1886, Daimler took a stagecoach and adapted it to hold his engine, thereby designing the world's first four-wheeled automobile. Daimler is considered the first inventor to have invented a practical internal combustion engine. Okay. In 1889, Daimler invented a V-slanted two-cylinder four-stroke engine with mushroom-shaped valves, just like Otto's 1876 engine. Daimler's new engine set the basis for all car engines going forward. Also in 1889, Daimler and Maybach built their first automobile from the ground up. They did not adapt another purpose vehicle as they always had been done previously. The new Daimler automobile had a 4-speed transmission and obtained speeds of 10 mile an hour. You got 4 gears and you still could only get 10 mile an hour. Daimler founded the Daimler Motor Renngesellschaft in 1890 to manufacture his design. 11 years later, Wilhelm Maybach designed the Mercedes automobile. If Siegfried Marcus built his second car in 1875, and it was as claimed, it would have been the first vehicle powered by a four-cycle engine, and the first to use gasoline as the fuel. The first to have a carburetor for a gasoline engine, and the first having a magneto ignition. However, the only existing evidence indicates that the vehicle was built circa 1888-1889, too late to be the first. By the early 1900s, gasoline cars started to outsell all other types of motor vehicles. The market was growing for economical automobiles, and the need for industrial production was pressing. The first car manufacturers in the world were French, Panhard and Levasseur, 1889, and Peugeot, 1891. By car manufacturer, we mean builders of entire motor vehicles for sale, and not just engine inventors who experimented with car design to test their engines. Daimler and Benz began as the latter before becoming full car manufacturers, and made their early money by licensing their patents and selling their engines to car manufacturers. How much more we got to go? Not a lot, I hope. Renee Panhard and Emily Levasseur were partners in a woodworking machinery business, when they decided to become car manufacturers. They built their first car in 1890 using a Daimler engine. Edouard Sarrazin, who held the license rights to the Daimler patent for France, commissioned the team. Licensing a patent means that you pay for a fee and then have the right to build and use someone's invention for profit. In this case, Sarrazin had the right to build and sell Daimler engines in France. The partners not only manufactured cars, but they also made improvements to the automobile body design. Panhard Levasseur made vehicles with a pedal-operated clutch, a chain transmission leading to a change-speed gearbox, and a front radiator. Levasseur was the first designer to move the engine to the front of the car and use a rear-wheel drive layout. This design was known as the Système Panhard and quickly became the standard for all cars because it gave better balance and improved steering. Panhard and Levasseur are also credited with the invention of the modern transmission, installed in their 1895 Panhard. Panhard and Levasseur also shared the licensing rights to Daimler Motors with Armand Peugeot. A Peugeot car went on to win the first car race held in France, which gained Peugeot publicity and boosted car sales. Ironically, the Paris to Marseille race of 1897 resulted in a fatal auto accident, killing Emily Levasseur. Oh, sad. Early on, French manufacturers did not standardize car models. Each car was different from the other. The first standardized car was the 1894 Benz Velo. 134 identical Velos were manufactured in 1895. Charles and Frank Dury, America's first gasoline-powered commercial car manufacturers were Charles and Frank Dury. The brothers were bicycle makers who became interested in gasoline engines and automobiles and built their first motor vehicle in 1893 in Springfield, Massachusetts. By 1896, the Dury Motor Wagon Company had sold 13 models of the Dury, in an expensive limousine which remained in production into the 1920s. Ransom Eli Olds. The first automobile to be mass-produced in the United States was the 1901 Curved Dash Oldsmobile, built by the American car manufacturer Ransom Eli Olds, 1864-1950. Olds invented the basic concept of the assembly line and started the Detroit area automobile industry. He first began making steam and gasoline engines with his father, Pliny Fisk-Olds, in Lansing, Michigan in 1885. Olds designed his first steam-powered car in 1887. In 1899, with a growing experience of gasoline engines, Olds moved to Detroit to start the Olds Motor Works and produce low-price cars. He produced 425 curved dash Olds in 1901 and was America's leading auto manufacturer from 1901 to 1904. And that leads us up to the last bloke, Henry Ford. American car manufacturer Henry Ford, 1863 to 1947, invented an improved assembly line and installed the first conveyor belt-based assembly line in his car factory in Ford's Highland Park, Michigan plant around 1913 to 1914. The assembly line reduced production costs for cars by reducing assembly time. Ford's famous Model T was assembled in 93 minutes. Ford made his first car called the Quadricycle in June 1896. However, success came after he formed the Ford Motor Company in 1903. This was the third car manufacturing company formed to produce the cars he designed. He introduced the Model T in 1908, and it was a success. After installing the moving assembly line in his factory in 1913, Ford became the world's biggest car manufacturer, and by 1927, 15 million Model Ts had been manufactured. Another victory won by Henry Ford was a patent battle with George B. Selden. Selden, who had never built an automobile, held a patent on a road engine. On that basis, Selden was paid royalties by all American car manufacturers. Ford overturned Selden's patent and opened the American car market for the building of inexpensive cars. Oh, that was a lot of reading. Give me eyes a break now. Stop share that. Yeah, the Otto cycle engine. The Otto cycle engine's basically a four-stroke engine, like a normal four-stroke engine. Sorry, Sheepy.
So could you imagine changing 4 gears to get to 10 mile an hour? And that, did you say that? At 4 gears and went 10 mile an hour?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, to gain 10 mile an hour, you had to go through 4 gears.
Yeah, can you imagine changing like how fast you were going at first?
Yeah, we're going out of first gear into second gear. Hold on to your hat.
Slow down, you lunatic. Very funny.
Well, a 10 mile an hour. Well, I'm thinking of 10 kilometres now because in a car park, say like a normal car park, that's a 10k limit speed, and that's just above walking pace, like a fast walk.
But I wonder if it was like top end, you know, that it actually reaches 10 or it gets close to 10 in the first couple of gears and then gets that little bit more, in the final gear type thing.
Well, you think of it like a truck, like you hear the truck going through all its gears, and it's only gone, 60 metres down the road sort of thing.
Yeah, I know. I said my mate drives trucks, and when I was with him, I was offsider one day, and I was like, and we were just going from small distances, and the amount of gears he had to change, I was like, jeez. I said, how do you feel when you get back in a car? And he's like, I'm always going to change gear, and then I remember that I don't have that many, and I'm like, oh. So I said, how many gears? Because I don't even count them anymore. It's more about I look out the window and see how fast I'm going, and I know where I am and what I have to do. I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, man, I'm tired by the end of the day, I said, do you have to, is it easy to change gears? He's like, no, you gotta change it right. Otherwise, if you grind the clutch or anything, you rarely hear it in a truck. And he did it, and the whole truck like shook. I was like, whoa. So there I am, just relaxing with a map, telling him where to go, and he's doing all the hard work. So.
You've seen those older model trucks in the 50s and it might have been the 60s, late 60s or early 70s, I think they were. They had 60s. They had a 2-gear stick setup for the truck. You had to use both gear sticks to change gears. Even just watching a video of what a bloke driving the truck down the road having to change gears. Go through one gear. Before he could go to that gear, he moved the other lever and then start the process all over again just to go through the gears.
Yeah, it's madness.
Imagine when the first automatic came out. These people were going, oh, cool. Don't have to change gears.
Exactly.
Now I've got a little video. Where did I hide that? If you can't find them, grind them. Yeah, that's it. Or remember the old crash box first gear, 300 tree cars? Well, I had one anyway. Old HR. My dad had it down to a fine art. He'd pull up to the corner and give it a little rev and a double clutch, so to speak, and then clunked it into first before he stopped and then kept going again. You just had to get used to the rev range to get it in. Where did I hide this video? Somewhere here. Now it seems to be in Creative Commons because I've looked into it, so I can't see what's wrong with it. That's Secret Life of Machines. First internal combustion engine was made by a Frenchman called Eltine Lenoir in 1859, which was that other steam engine. But this has some other information. Yeah, thanks to the creator for allowing these excellent videos to be freely distributed online. I don't know about the music though, it's not saying. It's got some music here, so I'm not sure about what it's. So I'll just have to be careful. Just don't play the music. Okay, I'll share that. Transition. Okay, we could probably skip it a little bit, I don't know. Yeah, that music there, I suppose. It's just a bit of music at the intro.
It's hard to imagine the modern world without the internal combustion engine. It's used to drive such a vast variety of machines, including the car. It was the invention of the engine that made the whole idea of the car possible. The principle on which it works is really quite simple. It's really just like a cannon, the explosive fuel forcing out whatever's inside the barrel. This is actually a fireworks motor. And forces out this cylindrical shell and the explosive fuel is the gunpowder at the bottom. Here.
Hardly any OH&S type precautions, is there? It just throws it in, lights it, and away it goes.
The internal combustion engine is really just the same, except it has a captive piston instead of the shell, and it uses an explosive vapour instead of the gunpowder. Although the idea is simple, it hasn't been easy to tame the violent energy of all these explosions thousands of times.
Imagine the thinking process back in the day with the steam engine to when the bloke started pulling apart the steam engine to try to build something, to put something else opposite to do the opposite effect, to push the piston. You know, what could they do? You know, because the steam was pushing it. And then they thought of, how are we going to get this piston to move?
In this program, I'm going to look at this wild unlikely contraption, also its fuel. Almost all internal combustion.
They're saying they're hearing it twice. Why? Roomfinder. Why are you hearing it twice? Try again. Were you hearing it twice out in the YouTube, Cheapy? Did you have it on?
No, I'm muted. Oh, I heard myself then.
But on YouTube?
No.
Vid has a hella echo.
In my headphones.
I don't know why.
Something must be happening with the audio.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what could be.
Settings.
Yeah, that's what I'm just checking. Can't be that. Just double check there. No, everything's quite normal over there. Just a little bit of an echo. Yep, we hear an echo, only on the video. Try again.
Engines use a fuel based on crude oil. This naturally seeps out of the ground in places and has been known about since ancient times. It had a variety of uses, but not as a fuel.
It's mentioned several times in the Bible. Noah was instructed by God to use it for waterproofing his ark.
Still hearing an echo out there? All good
now. It was
now.
only in the 19th century that oil's potential as a fuel
Okay,
was
I don't know what that was.
and people started drilling and refining it. One of the products of the
Yeah, I'll figure it out one day with the banana why.
Petrol.
The petrol was
How to get it back how it used to be.
Useless byproduct. Its vapour was so dangerously inflammable. But it was also realised that it was an enormously potent source of energy. We can show you this with this modified firework mortar. This obviously isn't an experiment to do at home, but if Rex puts a teaspoonful of gunpowder down the mortar and using the lager can as the projectile,
It barely came out.
Well, it's not very powerful. Well, now we're going to compare this with a teaspoon and see how far that goes.
Excuse me.
This time we're igniting it with a spark plug in the side. You can see what an enormous amount of energy there is in the petrol.
Although it's hard to believe, this isn't actually an explosion. It's just a very rapid combustion, a very rapid fire. The early internal combustion engines were often called explosion engines, though, and I think it's really a much more appropriate name.
The great attraction
try
of the
selling
explosion
one.
engine is the enormous power it has for its size and weight. This is the smallest engine we could find, complete with fuel tank behind, used for model aeroplanes. Even this has enough power to pull Rex round at quite a speed, though it takes a bit of time to gather momentum.
Imagine doing that in your backyard.
The car engine is quite awesome. Even a basic one is rated at about 60 horsepower. That's literally equivalent to the power of 60 horses. The first successful explosion engine was built by an inventor called Etienne Lenoir in 1959. He simply threw away the boiler of a steam engine and modified it so that it would ignite the piped gas supplied for lighting. Unfortunately, the violence of the explosions tended to damage the piston and valves, and it was much less efficient than the original steam engine.
Well, the neighbours weren't happy.
However, his engine inspired other inventors, including a German wholesale grocery salesman called Nicholas Otto.
What is lost? Herr Otto.
Otto came up with an engine that was much more efficient. His engines were immediately successful, and he sold over 35,000 to power factories and workshops. One of the first Otto engines to be built in Britain was the 1895 Hornsby Ackroyd. It all still looks very like a steam engine, but it runs on paraffin, another product of refining crude oil. It first has to be heated to make it an inflammable vapour. It's a two-man job to start it, and it never goes round faster than 100 times a minute. What's going on inside is that first the vapour is sucked into the cylinder. Then it's compressed, ignited, and finally the exhaust gases are pushed out. This sequence, suck, Squash, bang, blow is called the four-stroke cycle. Otto's big improvement was squashing the vapour up before igniting it, which gave the engine much more power.
Although from the outside a modern car engine looks completely different, and it's obviously got more than one cylinder, inside it's really quite similar. If you can start turning it over.
The piston goes in and out, the crankshaft goes round and round. Now this is the exhaust valve with the strong spring keeping it closed and the cam pushing it open. The other valve, the inlet valve, is tucked away behind on this engine. The rusty space around the edge is full of water, essential for cooling the heat of the explosions. All these fundamental features have remained unchanged. Otto's engines were much too large and clumsy for a car, but one of his employees, called Gottlieb Daimler, developed a much smaller engine in 1883. Yeah. This ran much faster and used the volatile petrol
suck, squeeze,
fuel.
bang, blow.
It produced nearly as much power as Otto's, but weighed 10 times less. Daimler's high-speed engine finally made the idea of a car practical, and it was quickly realised that cars could do some quite remarkable things. The early engines did still have their drawbacks, though.
This is a 1902 Ozzie owned by Jack Howes. Under the bonnet really just contains the enormous cooling system and radiator. The engine's tucked away right underneath. It's not entirely easy to operate. There are 20 operations you have to do before you can start it. Where do you start?
First thing I do is to connect the battery, then I turn on the petrol tap and just give the carburettor a touch to draw the petrol through. My next operation after that is to turn on the 12 oilers for the total loss oiling system. Now the most important job of all, having inserted the starting handle, as you can obviously see the side of the engine, is to put it on half compression. Otherwise there's a great risk of breaking your wrist. Turn on the switch, adjust the throttle and ignition controls.
It's not going to start. Try again. Got no petrol. He's run out of petrol. Oh. Going. We're off.
It's not just tricky to get it going. There are two levers controlling the fuel and ignition that have to be skillfully adjusted as you drive along. One false move and the thing stalls. Also, the engine's very inefficient by today's standards, only doing about 12 miles to the gallon.
12 miles to the gallon?
The total
Whoa.
loss oiling system
That is
a trail
inefficient.
of oil along the ground wherever it goes. Engines haven't changed radically since this time, but they're designed
So I
to
think pulling a horse and
refined.
cart back in the day was probably
Arguably,
more
the
efficient.
biggest single improvement has been in the oil and how the engine puts it to use.
An engine wouldn't last for long without oil. The oil's fed through holes in the castings to all the bearings. There's actually an enormous amount of oil being pumped round.
Imagine
all the
trying
time.
to start that
I
drunk.
can show you this if I
Yeah,
knock
right,
a
Jim.
hole in the oil filter. This may be a bit messy. The oil doesn't just lubricate, it all gets rather black and filthy like this, because it's also a detergent.
I think he's
It
wearing
cleans
a
up
bit
the
of it.
deposits left by the exploding gases. Before this detergent was added in the 1940s, you had to strip down the engine and clean everything out, or decoke it, every few thousand miles. Now you just have to change the oil and the filter.
I'm going to turn it off, actually. Whoops.
I wonder if he thought about what was going to happen before he hit that with the hammer and
Many
screwdriver.
of the improvements in oil and petrol have been made possible by more sophisticated refining of the crude oil. Today, almost everything a refinery produces can be used by the car industry. Besides petrol and oil, it provides the chemicals which are the basis of plastics, paints and synthetic rubbers, and even the bitumen that the roads are made of.
Yeah, well, back in the day, petrol was actually a byproduct
Gasoline,
when they first started
liquid
producing
power to run millions of automobiles
from the
everywhere.
oil anyway.
Yet, how many know what happens to the gas after it is poured into the gas tank, or realize the care that motor car engineers have taken to give each drop an equal chance to do its duty? Gasoline is powerful, but each drop can give a 100% account of himself only when he finds the most efficiently designed gasoline system to help him along his journey. For a successful life, every drop of gasoline depends entirely upon what happens to him after he gets in the swim.
First, the fuel has to be mixed with air. The air comes in through the large air filter on top of the engine, and it's mixed with the fuel inside the carburettor. It's easiest to see the principle of the carburettor with this model. We've used a vacuum cleaner to represent the engine because it's sucking in air all the time. It simply sucks the fuel up and mixes up this little tube and mixes it with the air in here. Here we're going to use red ink instead of petrol so that you can see it more clearly.
So you're going to make another mess?
Petrol isn't explosive. Only the mixture of petrol vapour and oxygen from the air. You can see the petrol being sucked in, looking down a real carburettor.
Unfortunately, real engines need different concentrations of fuel for different conditions, starting, idling, accelerating, etc. That's why the 1902 Woolsey had the mixture lever on the steering wheel. Modern carburettors make all these adjustments automatically, but this is why they're so fiendishly complicated.
Today, a completely different system, fuel injection, is becoming more common. It's basically very simple. There's just a row of electric valves, one for each cylinder, that squirt a bit of petrol into each inlet. The precise length of time the valve opens, controlled by a computer, varies the amount of fuel injected very accurately.
Once the fuel and air has been sucked into the cylinder and squashed up, it's ignited. The spark's created by a high voltage jumping across a gap in the spark plug. The high voltage itself is created by the coil connected to the battery. Engines don't like getting wet because water provides an easier path for the electricity than jumping across the gap, which I think I can show you. Put the spark out. Fortunately, though, you can often get the spark back again simply with a water-repelling oil.
Although the ignition should be started by the spark, petrol's a complicated mixture of chemicals, some of which are quite unstable. These can ignite spontaneously under heat and pressure, causing a sort of uneven explosion called detonation or knock. As engines have become more powerful over the years, knock has become more of a problem. It can be overcome either by damping the unstable compounds with lead additives, or in lead-free petrol by refining the unstable compounds out. The other option, used in diesel engines, is to refine the fuel less and to compress it more.
The more the fuel squashed up in the cylinder, the hotter it gets. It can get so hot that it ignites spontaneously without any spark. We've blocked the bottom of this cylinder up completely and cut a hole in it. And if I put a bit of fuel in the side here and bash the piston down with a hammer, it should ignite.
This is a bit dangerous. No personal safety for this guy. He just blew a smoke ring.
If I blow out the burnt gases, there may be enough fuel left to make it work a second time.
It was a Victorian cigar lighter working on this principle that inspired Rudolf Diesel to design his first engine in the 1890s.
Diesel believed that more compression would make his engine much more efficient.
Yeah, I use a lead replacement additive in my wagon Mandelbrot, because it used to be a leaded engine.
The higher compression made the engine more dangerous, and a prototype nearly killed him.
What? Nearly killed me.
By 1895, though, Diesel had a design which ran on cheap fuel and was twice as efficient as any other engine of its time. Diesel became a millionaire from his invention, but invested very badly, quickly getting heavily into debt, and decided he couldn't carry on.
Oh, my God! I cannot pay this.
10 million.
In May 1913, he set off on a night ferry to Britain.
I go. Goodbye.
He was never seen again.
Oh, okay. He jumped ship.
Today, the diesel engine has been greatly improved and it's now fitted in many cars. This contraption, which Rex and I built for a TV series a few years ago, is diesel-powered. The engine, from a Volkswagen Golf car, hardly looks any different from a petrol one. However, as Diesel originally thought, the higher compression does make the engine more efficient and do more miles to the gallon. Here, as well as driving the vehicle, the engine's also powering a hydraulic lift.
What if it won't come back down again? It'd be stuck.
The most dramatic change to both diesel and petrol engines in the last 10 years has been the addition of sophisticated electronics.
This modern car engine, compared to the earlier ones, is horrendously complicated. For example, there's two computers on board. One controls the electronic fuel injection, another one controls the cruise control. Even though the engine is much more complicated, this makes the most of every drop of fuel and gives greater fuel economy and power. Although the complex electronics would be impossible to repair by the roadside, I've driven 80,000 miles in it, and even with my poor maintenance, it's never even failed once.
The engine's improved enormously since 1900. It starts at a flick of a switch. It's incredibly powerful. And it's really very reliable. But it's still far from perfect. Despite its power, it's really very wasteful. 4/5 of the energy released by the petrol is simply lost as heat through the radiator and the exhaust. And the exhaust gases themselves pose even worse problems. There's an awful lot of them. The average car releases 4 times its own weight in exhaust gases during its life. And it's all pretty horrid stuff.
This wasn't such
I think
a
the
problem
motor's a
when there
bit
weren't so
worn,
many
it's blowing
cars
smoke.
around.
If we are to realize in full the motor car's
He really doesn't care for personal safety, does he?
No, that's what I was saying back in the day. Well, this was back, mate,
The motor
years
car has
back.
been the key to open new horizons, not for the few, but for all. And all of us share in the responsibility of safeguarding the benefits it has brought. If we plan for the future,
Okay.
if we look ahead to clear all obstacles and roadblocks, if we recognize the importance of this great individual freedom of movement, the motor car will be the key to our ever-widening horizons of tomorrow.
You reckon we'll get done by that?
In an attempt to clean up the exhaust gases, catalytic converters are gradually becoming compulsory all over the world.
Oh, Dad! Dad, it smells all funny! Dad, stop!
Recent reports from America suggest in practice catalysts may only remove about 30% of the poisonous gases because the engine needs careful maintenance for them to work properly.
Oh, not to worry, sir. Trouble with the catalytic ain't very common these days. I'll just adjust this screw and then that'll be all right.
I like the cartoon.
Even when they do work perfectly, they only convert the gases to carbon dioxide, the greenhouse gas.
I'm boiled, Dad. Nothing for it. I'll have to go electric. It's the only way to be really green.
Electric cars aren't perfect either. The electricity to charge their batteries just transfers a lot of the pollution to the power stations. I don't think there's any such thing as a completely green car.
The engine's really a victim of its own success. Despite its disgusting exhaust, it's such a reliable and potent source of power, it's made the car and all sorts of other machines completely indispensable. It's so central to our modern way of life that there's almost something rather religious about it.
That's where it finishes. Yeah, well, we can't predict the future, but what type of transition. I wonder what type of motor we're going to have driving the automobiles in the future. Don't know. There we go. Next invention of brakes. Yeah. Hey, that was only secondary, room fondle. Having to have brakes. First problem was get going. Okay. And we haven't even looked at battery-operated cars back in the day too yet. I'll look into that too. Okay. I suppose I can't put it off any longer if we're going to play any dirt. Where did I put him? So this is Lindsay's latest creation, November 4. The right one? It's 3 days ago. Have I got the right one? Must be. He's got a disclaimer in his description. It says, near the end of the video I mentioned the equator when I meant to say equinox. Renee Me says, been drinking beers for quite a few hours now. My Spanglish is now becoming fluent. Okay. No, he still hasn't replied. So I've got no idea.
That's all right. We'll get him one day.
Yeah, we'll get him. We'll reel him in.
We'll get him.
Oh, he's not going anywhere, I hope.
He seems to be still making flat earth stuff, so despite the fact that he said he wasn't going to.
Share that. So he's ready?
Oh, yeah.
Ready?
Yep. Okay. I'm way back from my screen.
Okay. And please, if you need me to stop it, just say so. I mean, yes. What is a good Australian beer? Well, my preference, Zeb's Carlton Draft. I don't know about anyone else.
Welcome to a physics lesson you'll never forget. This is a physics lesson in actual reality. You've heard all the other stuff, you've been raised on it, you've listened to it, it's written in books, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, we're going to forget it for the wrong
all
reason.
fabricated on the basis of one spinning ball and a magical word called gravity. Well, this is physics, the untold story of our universe, the actual universe we live in. You all think you live on a spinning ball, planet, sun, moon, all moving on this nice ecliptic, they call it, around the spinning ball as the ball turns.
No, Lindsay,
we know
that's
the Milky
not how
Way
it works.
Comes across roughly 60 degrees to the equator, to the ecliptic.
Yes,
That's what you've led to believe. You've also been led to believe that the magnetic fields from the south travel all the way to the north. They come out of here, travel all the way up there. Does anybody know why? Does anyone know why a magnetic field would just come out of here and travel all the way up to there? For what reason? Have they explained this to you?
One's the south end and one's
No.
the north end?
All science tells you is magnetic opposites attract. If they attract, why would the north not come down here to this region and the south come up to this region and meet there? Why does the south go all the way up there?
No.
How can it actually get around the ball right up to here? What in nature would take something from here that wanted to be there? Birds, they fly north or south for a reason. What is the reason for a magnetic field to flow from there to there? At the same time, the analogy is magnetics attract. Why wouldn't it come to here and that to there?
He's hoping someone can tell him.
Well, I'll tell you, that's exactly what happens. Magnetic fields come out of the south, magnetic fields come out of the north.
What happens, Lindsay?
And they meet at the equator in reality.
I'll tell you what.
This is actual
in reality.
Universal design, here and here, not there. You don't live on a spinning ball. You live here, on a circular flat earth. That Milky Way sits right here in the centre, Arctic Circle. It cannot be seen. Roger Penrose, physicist, and two other associates have just won a Nobel Prize for declaring a black hole in the Milky Way. The Milky Way is a vacuum.
Wrong.
It is a black hole. It's where the sun is.
Guy?
That's where singularity
That's the Big Bang
is.
in there, is that
here.
right? That's the Big Bang.
Who was that guy?
Yeah.
He said it was just said something.
Roger Penrose. He thinks that Roger Penrose got his Nobel Prize for declaring that there's a black hole in the centre of the Milky Way, which is completely wrong. What Roger Penrose got his a Nobel Prize for was for showing that Einstein's theory of general relativity robustly predicts the existence of black holes. That's what he got his Nobel Prize for, and he only got half a Nobel Prize. The other half was shared by two other people who got a quarter each.
Okay.
Because this is a magnetic field. It's magnetic induction. See, in our physical world, we live out here. That's the centre north. Everything is outward show. So everything's physical. So we see an electrical wire, a curl of electrical wire, that creates a magnetic field. We don't see the magnetic field with our eyes. We don't even see the electrical current, but we have the physical appearance of a copper wire So we know electricity travels through that wire, but you don't see the magnetic field. Well,
you don't physically see an electrical current. You can see the effects of electricity,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
not the actual current.
This is the physical world. This is the non-physical world. This is the world you cannot see. Roger Penrose, they won their Nobel Prize on the basis that there's a black hole, and this is invisible, an invisible vortex. And this is what it is. It is a invisible vortex in the centre of our Arctic Circle. It's elevated. It's quite high up. We do not see anything that's going on in there. But this is a magnetic field.
Then how do you know what's going on there, Lindsay? How do you
Invisible.
know there's a vortex there if you can't see it? And how do you know what's going on in there if you can't see it?
Yeah, what's the effects of what he thinks what's going on?
Well, if we remember, when he doesn't know, he just stands there and waits for the answer, and then he's got it. So, maybe the answers come from the black hole. I don't know.
You wave your hands around a little bit, pretending that's physics.
Yeah.
Our whole Earth is a magnetic field. This field around here is magnetic. You can't get through it. It's like the repulsion. The opposites.
The moisture.
Two positives, say, in that magnetic bounce. You cannot get up there.
Magnetic bounce.
You can't get out. And in here, there's no magnetic field. There's a magnetic vortex in there, creating this magnetism.
Oh, no, hang on. Wait.
I missed that. Sorry, I had to change
There's not
battery, Paul.
Yeah, that's right. There's not a magnetic field in there, but there's a magnetic vortex. Go figure.
A magnetic vortex.
Bounce.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently that's something different than a magnetic field.
Oh. Okay. Is he not going to explain?
Oh dear.
I need.
No, of course he's not.
It's the Big Bang that happens at the singularity.
Well, you explain a magnetic vortex by putting your finger in the air and swelling it around a little bit. That's how you explain it.
Do you wet your finger first?
Go on. No, you only do that to tell you which direction the wind's coming from, Terry. Magnetic vortexes don't make your finger cold.
Oh, okay.
The electrical circuit in the centre. The pressure's built up. Cross circuit has created the voltage. The sun is the voltage. We can't even see that. We can't even see that because it's electrical. We can't see electrical current. We only know in our world a copper wire. You know that electrical current's moving through it. So
didn't I just comment on that a few minutes ago when he said something about the magnetic field and then the electrical current?
Yeah, the magnetic field you cannot see. The electrical current we cannot see. You cannot see it.
I think he forgets what he says
This
half
is
the
the Milky
time.
Way. We cannot even see the Milky Way during the day, can we? No. But we can see the Milky Way at night.
Why should we be able to?
That depends. Yeah, it depends what you're using to observe the Milky Way.
Yeah, I was just going to say you could possibly see it in the daytime. Just depends on what you're using to view it with.
If you're using visible light, probably not.
Far out.
I just go down to the supermarket.
The sun on this side, reflecting out this side, has highlighted all the light onto that side of the world. This is the dark side.
More the dark side.
So this
Welcome to the dark side.
There's the light. And the day side, the night side.
Nighttime, daytime.
Now, in a
Where are the
vacuum,
locusts?
amplification.
Don't know, he hasn't mentioned them yet.
It acts as an amplifier. If you go look up, do you understand the magnetron in the microwave? That's not an amplifier system, but there's two other systems. I can't think of the name, but go to magnetron and then look up the other two. Vacuum systems. And you start to understand what's going on in here. And while you're at it, you can look up induction, magnetic induction. How?
If he's telling us to look up stuff, how come? If the person's going to go to the trouble of looking up stuff, they might as well just keep looking up other stuff, and they'll find out that he's wrong.
Works. Understand all that. This is
And how? By the way, just pause it for a moment. How does magnetic induction work when there's supposed to be nothing physical in there?
Okay.
in here, the
Pretty
same
sure.
thing. A magnetic field
Yeah.
that keeps the electrical circuit balanced. There's quite a few videos on YouTube to go to that will explain all that system.
Yeah, okay.
So in reality,
Yeah, I can't explain it, but someone else will.
Yeah.
There's your flat plane of Earth. The magnetic fields, if I put this up over my head and I'm in the south, it'll go straight up like this. So I'll see everything coming right to left. So I put that over my head. In the morning, I see everything travelling this way. So the magnetic field will be
which
down
way?
like this.
What way?
That way, Terry.
Everything
That way or the other way?
like this.
No. Yep, that
East
way.
to west. Put that over your head and you'll see it moving from right to left, from the south, east to west. And it goes straight around. We can't tell, it looks straight to us, but it's curving like this. It curves. And out of the centre
What curves? The star
comes the other
trails?
magnetic field. With the
You just
magnetic
said
field
east.
coming out.
Is he talking about what we see, like the physical star trails that we can observe?
Yeah.
What? Hey, Milkman Dan.
Out
This
of
is
the
madness.
North Arctic Circle to this region, and we have one coming from the south. And they meet at the tropics. The magnetic
Sure
field
they
comes
do.
up, hits the tropics, comes down.
Oh, he's
Which
going
way
to
is
cross the
that?
streams.
Oh,
He's
no,
going to
no,
cross the
don't-
streams,
don't-
Terry.
No,
And up
no,
south.
don't cross the streams.
This is what
How
it's
does he
doing.
know which way's east if he's got two souths?
It goes round. This is negative down here.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Down,
Like,
through, down through the side.
He's
and
facing
comes across, cuts up, back
south.
up this way.
pointing
See, that's supposed to be
to
the
east
equator
or
where the streams
facing
cross. Yeah.
north, and the right is. Oh,
I don't think he
I need to try-
understands east. I don't think there is an east or west on his model. There's a north
well, he
south.
said the
People-
east to west. Just
Yeah, Sheeple, you just made the fatal mistake of trying to understand something that he's
Yes.
actually said.
Sheepy, look, you're going to get us going down a rabbit hole here if you want to try to
Yeah.
understand things.
Science is not telling you this.
Um,
no.
can I correct
Yeah,
him on that one,
correct.
Paul?
There's a reason why science is not telling you that, because it's bollocks.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
one thing I was.
You
gonna
won't find
say.
this in any book.
Yeah.
That was
Oh.
one thing. The other thing I was science is not. What is it? Science doesn't tell you anything anyway.
Right.
For a reason.
You won't find this in any book.
Because if they explain
No,
this,
you won't. No, you definitely
they get all
won't.
confused.
Yeah.
Or will then have to admit that Earth is flat, like this.
Do we?
All they will tell you is
No,
the
that's
solar
what they-
winds will meet here. If you look up airplane flights or anything. Ask a pilot what happens when you get to the equator region, the tropics.
Yeah. What happens?
Oh yeah. What happens?
What happens? Rich,
They fly across the equator, that's what happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's Rich when you need him, Darcy? What happens when you fly
Yeah.
across the equator, Rich?
The winds. That's the magnetic field. They meet here.
They change
And what they
towers
do
to transport.
Is they're
Track the
attracted
transponder.
to the heavier moisture in the tropics. This is the
Ah, there's the moisture.
duality here. Opposites attract.
Yeah, he hasn't
Dry,
mentioned
moist
moisture for a while.
Dry, cold air
Like,
meeting
yeah.
the moist, warm
Moisture,
air.
moisture.
And it hits the warm,
We just
moist
need
air
the ether bubbles and
weakens,
we've
comes
got
back
bingo.
down to the earth,
Yeah,
And
he hasn't mentioned ether bubbles for a while either.
changes course to come back up in here. This changing course isn't electromagnetism, induction systems. It's to do with the phasing. That's what it does. It's the earth
Phase.
shoots back this way. So you look up induction.
What,
Over
three-phase?
this game, you'll see the three-phase system. What's happening? What makes a positive field shoot opposite, go opposite, and go negative? This is what's
Yeah,
happening.
what?
So it's the tropics. The moisture is the opposite. Dry, denser, heavier moisture. So that's the way we see the fields. They come up here, but because they weaken, this is why science hasn't mentioned it. But we'll still get a hazy magnetic field across here because it's just the way it is.
Hazy?
But it'll be
Hazy
different.
magnetic
Okay.
field.
Oh, it's a
But
bit
in reality,
hazy,
that's
isn't
what it
it?
looks like.
It's a bit, bit blurry, a bit hard to tell. Yeah,
What you're
okay.
not going to
I'm
understand,
going to pour some water on the magnet
People
and
can't
see
get
what
their heads
happens. What do you reckon?
well, they can't get their heads around this full stop. But everything in here is our creation. It's all in there. It's all being amplified out. Amplification through frequencies. Inside there.
Has he actually ever mentioned where that Y-shaped section is, where the vortex is? If there's a barrier between that and where the magnetic field goes up and around, like there's no physical barrier between those two assertions there. I know he's drawn it on the board. I know he's drawn it on the board.
You know what else there is in it, Terry?
What?
Countries, land masses. They're never in his design. They're never in his diagrams. They're never in his explanation. I mean, somehow we're meant to derive location from the bikini umbrella bending over model, you know. It's just, yeah.
The vortex. And here is the Milky Way. There are the planes, the ecliptic planes of the planets, all separated.
What? I don't think so. Not from what I've learned.
What?
The ecliptic planes of the planets are not on a different plane. They're on the same plane, aren't they?
Not quite. Some of them are on a different plane, but not much.
Not layered like a cake.
No.
Oh.
They don't cross each other's path. This is noted in.
Does that? Wait a minute. We've got Pluto here.
Oh,
Pluto is on a different ecliptic plane. It's completely different to what the others are. So where does Pluto fit into this, Lindsay? Because that's.
He just said they don't cross each other's path. It's like, no, because they're orbiting on the outside of each other. It's like, come on. It's like they're stacked like an abacus or something. Oh my goodness.
Socrates noted this in
Look at his
Plato's
face.
dialogues. They don't cross each other's paths.
That's a man who knows what's really not happening.
So the magnetic field was there first, built up the pressure. That's the way I say it. It's created the shock of the sun. There's the voltage. Bang. That's their Big Bang theory. And this is bringing it back to their science singularity in there.
He's got a thing about the Big Bang theory, hasn't he?
Well, that's where the singularity created our sun theory. That's the Big Bang. The Big Bang created our sun. That's not the universe.
But us normal scientists question the Big Bang theory. So why is he bringing that into it as if? Okay, I thought he wouldn't go there with that one.
Yeah.
They know.
Mandelbrot said's got it.
There's the horizon. This is the horizon. There's the Milky Way. Everything shoots back down this way. Everything winds its way up, gets to the top, it comes back in and down through there. Just like vortex.
No, I can't go outside the donut.
It's exactly the same system. Vortex and water, that is the
What's
design.
it going outside the donut?
That's how it works. Earth
No,
continues
it
like
doesn't
this.
work like that.
It's all on the
So
magnetic
he's
field.
saying that bottom horizontal line
Everything comes out of here.
is where all the planets are.
Like
I'm sorry,
so.
all the countries are.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that's the ground.
Yeah, the central line across the
And it comes
horizontal
out
line
the
across
south
the
and
middle.
meets like that.
Okay.
That's
It's this
the
meeting
Plato
point that
part.
drives all the celestial bodies we see out here. Because they're only reflections. It's all projections. This is turning, but at the same time that it's turning, the magnetic field is
Projection
flowing.
from what?
So you've got the moving of the magnetic field.
Onto what?
And
Yeah,
the
onto
turning
what?
of
Onto
the
what and
reflection.
from what?
And here, projection. So it's reflected out,
Using
reflected out,
what?
being carried around.
Reflected
As
out.
Are we
something else.
floating or?
It's reflected out. I thought it was projected out.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes it's reflected, sometimes it's projected, sometimes it's amplified.
Oh dear.
You know?
Make your mind up.
Yep.
You have to use one terminology. Can't just.
Yeah, sometimes it's magnified and mirrored, right? That was one of his revisions. But now my final question is: that horizontal? Is that us? That's our countries. We would establish that.
That's the flat
Or
plane.
is it floating in the sky or?
No, he hasn't actually
Is it
gone
floating?
to what we're in. Are we
Hasn't
in
gone
a
there?
void?
No,
or
he hasn't gone there.
No, he hasn't
No.
gone
Okay.
there. No.
Okay, so you need to just stand there and get some more insight, and then he can tell us.
Like, he hasn't explained where all the other celestial bodies are out there, except our own solar system. This is all
saying they're in
all local.
It's like all the planets are in that vortex piece above the Earth, but that's not where we see them. they're not around the North Pole. You know, they're not at the equator. They're all over the place.
The reason we see them at the South Pole is because they're projected, mirrored, amplified from there somehow.
Have you noticed also that that in Lindsay's model, the Big Bang wasn't the first thing? The Big Bang is created by the vortex. So the vortex had to exist before the
Big Bang, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a singularity inside the vortex. Incredible.
With the black, don't forget the black hole.
Kind of goes.
Don't forget the black hole.
Yes, the black hole was discovered, and it's just a little
bit. Was the black hole
before
the black hole? So does that mean the black hole was before the Big Bang too?
No, well, it's hard. We have to work out which revision this is, but according to Lindsay, it's quite a far way up, actually.
I don't know how far up. He's never given us any measurements of how far up this is.
It's turning, but so is the magnetic field. So is the flow of this magnetic field continuously turning.
I don't know where he
gets
it.
Polaris. Polaris is at the centre because the sun's at the centre, just off centre. We see it up
at the
here
North Pole.
In the big Polaris rotation.
We don't see it. You don't see it like that.
It's always been the sun. Whether it moves there in 26.
You don't see it like that. Goodness. That means that we'd be able to see it at the South Pole if it was like that, wouldn't it?
1,000 years.
Exactly. We would.
We'd be able to see
it. Unless the moisture is blocking it.
26,000 years, or it might move over there. Because it's a vortex.
Well, the magnetic field.
It's always been the sun.
Might be distorting it or something.
Comes out here.
That could be a possibility.
As Sigma Octantis.
Yeah. The other day, here I went to go to my car, and my keys flew out of my hand and went south. Okay.
Flipped it at night.
I was like, oh, that damn vortex.
It's a long way away. It's brighter, just there. This rotation out here comes all the way up to the equator. 2 rotations, see? Sigma Octantis rotation is here.
Oh my!
This is your rotation.
Oh what?
What do you see?
We don't. No, we don't.
No, no, what? No. How is that possible if it's south and then there's south over there and it's there? Oh.
But don't forget that's projected over the top of your head because he said pretend that what he's got there is above your head, like looking straight up.
Oh yes.
I don't know where. What, from the North Pole?
Pretend.
Well, we have to be at the North Pole to see this.
If you're looking south.
Oh my goodness.
There's a Polaris rotation all the way to the equator. And there's a gap. There's a gap between
Zeb saying, damn autocorrect, should I just write my comments for me? Should just write my comments for me and leave me out of it. Okay.
2 rotations. This is where
no interbubbles yet, Elmix. I don't know what's happening.
2 rotations.
Yeah.
It's all explained in this model.
Oh, electromagnetic ether bubbles.
That's not a model. Can I try to interpret what a model is, Paul, or do you want to do it? Because I was going to say a model has to be predictive and repeatable explanations or something.
Yeah, we'll let you play with models today, Terry.
Yeah, but am I right in saying something like models are predictive and can explain with scientific or mathematical equations?
Yeah. I mean, models don't have to be physical at all.
No.
They can be purely mathematical,
Yeah.
Conceptual.
And they can wear clothes too.
Everything the Egyptians, the Greeks, Roman, everything's been left for us.
Can hold gridiron balls.
Everything is a message. Fluted columns. What are fluted columns all about?
Fluted columns? What's fluted
columns? Everything's a message. What's a fluted column? Well, if you go back to Christianity text, they speak of outward show. There's a clue in the message, in the code. Not that anyone will click onto it. Outward show. This is all outward show. It's a show. Outward.
Not that anyone is
inward. You take an outward show, take an outward vertical fluted column. What would be the inverted show?
Fluted
Instead of being vertical, it would be horizontal, fluted. Horizontal flutes. Not a vertical column, fluted. Horizontal fluted.
You just got to down.
Not external.
You just got to download.
This is the way the world works. This is a show.
You just got to download it. It was standing.
Inward show. The opposite. In here is the Milky Way. It sits vertical. But we see it at night come out horizontally because it's all projected out. It's reflected out.
Aren't we in the Milky Way?
Top of this is south. That goes over like this. We only see it straight when it's at our zenith. But because we live under this dome-shaped magnetic field, as it moves away, it will curve away. But this end will always be coming from the north. One end of the Milky Way will always be pointed towards the north.
That was south you just pointed to.
Because that's where its foot is. There. But this part here will swing around. So if you can imagine something swinging around under a bowl, the further it goes away, the more it will curve. And then it will curve away at night. You don't see it because you see the sunset. You don't see the Milky Way. So you see it sit here. But then you see the Milky Way start to appear around here. But the sun is in the Milky Way. Science tells you the sun goes around the Milky Way. But the sun sits in the Milky Way.
No, what?
Roger
No,
Penrose just want
science does not tell us
Nobel
that.
Prize for the black hole. I've known that for a whole year. I know the Milky Way sits in there. I know the sun sits in the Milky Way. I know that's where their singularity is. Everything passes through the sun.
Know.
There's a bulge here. The bulge we see in the Milky Way because the sun is inside that bulge. In here, the bulge. All the stars are around here.
There's a bulge.
The central galactic bulge is caused by the sun, apparently.
Yeah.
That's because someone's given you a magical word called gravity. You don't need to. We live in a magnetic field. This is the shape of your brain. Same as your brain, right? But when you follow the magnetic field, there's another shape of your brain. It's all nature. It's all related to the human body.
Goodness.
We live in the frequencies. In the beginning was word. And what is word? Frequencies. What you speak.
What?
Vibration. Frequencies. Resonating through the ether in a wavelength. Just like in here, light, everything propagates through
You
here.
just flipped the script.
All projections. The sun, moon, star, everything that is projection. Because the source is back here.
He has to make an appearance
All
on Tau
amplified
Sigma
out.
Alphas from the retard mate.
Oh, man.
Go look for that word in applications in the vacuum. It starts with K. Can't think of the word right now. But that's our system. We can't go outside the magnetic field. Our brain is tuned to this frequency, these resonating frequencies. You either lose your mind or die, but who's going to travel that far south? It's been made to stop us travelling that far south. Cannot go there. If you manage to get out there,
really?
then you'll die.
You live
you'll
south,
lose your mind.
mate. You live really south.
Simple as that. In here. We can probably travel around here,
And
maybe.
I'm embarrassed.
But you try flying a plane, high altitude, straight to here. No one's going to do it. Science won't do it. They'll lie,
Well, they've done
make
it.
up stories. All sorts of stories have all been there, have all been here. Anybody can go out to the
They've done
Antarctic,
it.
Scott Base, wherever. But nobody can walk out here. That's way beyond where they settle somewhere here.
That explains the
Base, etc.
circumnavigation of
Maybe there.
Antarctica.
No one's been out there.
No one's been out there, he
You'll
says.
die. It's just the realm we live in.
You'll die.
It's frequencies.
You'll die.
Nothing's physical. We're not physical, we think we're physical. We've got 5 senses that tell us we're physical. Everything is
Five
based on
senses.
frequencies and light. That creates our world. You cannot fly out there.
I thought we had 6
If
senses.
NASA told the truth, you'd all come to realise this, but you all believe, most people believe the NASA photographs and all the stuff that goes on up here. No.
NASA
Wait a minute,
photographs.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. He
It's not-
said if
Comments around
NASA
here.
told the truth, we'd all come. If NASA told the truth, we'd all believe it and understand it. And the other day in revision 242A, he said that he's the only one with the knowledge. So how's NASA holding the knowledge back from us? I'm very confused now.
And what
Very
about all of these other space agencies besides NASA now? So he's only picking on NASA. He's not picking
Well,
on the
he's
other
the
ones.
one. The other day, he was the only one with the knowledge. Now he's saying that NASA is not telling us.
It's all reflected out here. Meteors, meteorites, how big are they? Who's
Yeah,
seen one?
yeah,
Who's actually
yeah,
seen
how
one fly
big
through
it
the
is.
sky and land and gone and picked it up? Not that you would, might be a bit hot. It just
hot.
solidified.
You were hot.
That's the first thing you've got right, Lindsay.
Why wouldn't there be very fine particles of iron and nickel up here? It probably gets recycled through the whole system. It probably comes out of here. There's a magnetic ridge down here.
What?
Magnetic ridge.
There's a magnetic field that's created here. There could be iron coming up here. There's certainly some out here from the volcanoes. That's what it's all about. They solidified in the heat, or it did manage to make it to Earth. Then you might find one. Otherwise, what you might see shooting around up here would just be maybe iron and ice. Ice flying through the atmosphere.
There's
That's
diamonds
in
in meteorites.
dissolve before they get down here.
That.
But any questions in science are all answered here. This sigma octantis, this rotation turns all the way around over 24 hours. And we can't see it. We can't see it moving because there's always other stars coming in. It's always rotating. You can't see this moving because you've always got your point out here. Look south, you've always got your point.
It's like a circular conveyor belt now.
Exactly. Except when you watch it, that's not... Or watch where it's meant to be.
That's on that 60-degree angle.
No.
But just recently, this has come out. Why are they showing us? Astronomers have found the edge of the Milky Way at last. Why have they put it there? Why have they put it on there? From there? They know damn well that it's 60 degrees off here. It's always north.
They didn't put it there. What are you lying about?
I could go on and on, but
it's because they showed it that way.
But our Milky Way comes out here. If it's straight above your head like that, but if you're standing there, you're going to see it go like this.
Oh, here comes the phone. Now it'll make
sense.
sense.
It goes further away. That's what happens. It'll come in.
Oh,
it'll come in
crystal clear.
Like this. Start off like that. Get straighter and straighter, and then curve away from you as the sun disappears over the horizon. No, that's the Milky Way at night. It disappears over the horizon. Around here, then starts coming out again. It's always turning in here, 24/7. Everything just keeps turning. Day in, day out, day in, day out. You've got your one side daylight, one side night time, and it's the shifting.
Yes, keep drawing all over it.
This
it's my favourite part. Always.
He's all over the place.
23 degree eclipse in here as well.
Focus on one thing.
But they alter in the season over the year. Down there, all the way up to there.
Oh, there he goes.
It's like the human eyesight.
He's not going to do both hands. He's not going to get both hands out to do that.
Any moment now he's going to say perihelion and that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of then, when he put his hands out.
At the equator, this levels up. In September, it actually comes in. The sun actually wanders in, like this. That's how the moon manages to come into the centre. The moon will come in.
Where is the moon?
Like this to the sun. It's the pattern. The sun's offset. There's the centre of the world. Not quite like that, but this is what brings the moon.
Not quite. No, it's not quite like that. No, exactly.
Everything's dead level.
Not quite.
The voltage on the circuit.
Caramel topping in that vortex.
Whoa! Oh, his battery run out.
Oh, that was good.
He didn't even get to walk off. He didn't even get to exit stage left.
That was...
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure he was about to tell us the whole secret of the universe, right?
Well, he would have finished off with something. And then walked off stage left.
Yeah.
He must have been so excited that he lost track of time.
Yeah, he did.
That's why all these videos are about 27 minutes, 27 and a half minutes.
Well, this one went for exactly 27:13. Yeah.
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 That's as long as his camera lasts.
That was funny. It was. Which revision is that, though? Honestly.
Well, there you go.
Right, I need to get set up, don't I?
Beat the gong. John says beat the gong. Well,
Yeah,
we missed the yeah, Fred. We missed the bit at the end where he walks off stage.
Mandelbrot said, as his projection of the globe exiting the right side leads to the left side. His brain's walked off, Mandelbrot. That's what's going on. Zebulon 181. Oh, you missed it, Dave. He was fingering the. What?
We've got dirty minds out there.
It's a family show. Renee and me. I have a whiteboard, so don't you dare challenge me.
Yeah.
Renee and me. This guy is a fascinating display of stupid. Yep.
Yeah,
it is quite amazing.
Daytime, nighttime, sexy. Now, don't get me started on that one.
No, but he is fascinating, but he's also says everything with such conviction, and it's so adamant when he says it. Like you try to challenge him, and you just don't get it. You don't understand. You haven't put it together. You haven't thought. You haven't done this. You haven't done that. Not any possibility that he's talking utter nonsense. You know, and drawing the dots and connecting them.
Yeah. Not relating anything to any actual scientific measurements or observations at all. Yeah, kind of reminds me of the ancient people that, you know, their explanation for things, they made up a story that, you know, was supposed to explain how the stars moved across the sky, and they come up with all sorts of things like, you know, unicorns pulling chariots that the gods were in and stuff like that, dragging the sun across the sky, and, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. You just make up something, you know? Yeah.
Well, remember we did, was it lunar eclipses? Was it eclipses, Terry, where the ancients believed that a wolf was coming out and taking away the moon for a while, and they hid the king. And you remember that? They took the king, and they had like a replacement that they had to sacrifice afterwards, and he was like chosen to.
What was this off Lindsay or something else?
No, this was in your show.
Okay.
I can't remember. It was something. It was when we were doing the sun. It must have been solar eclipses. When the solar eclipse comes and the sky turns dark, they believe the moon, a wolf was eating the sun or something.
I can't remember.
And they would hide the king away until it had passed, just in case, and they would put a body double in its place, in the king's place, and they would actually sacrifice that person afterwards. Yeah.
Wow.
Instead of just letting him go back to, you know. It's like next time it's like, oh no, I'm good. You know, I'd really love to be. I'd really love to help out, but
that would give you incentive to find out the real scientific truth, wouldn't
it? Yeah, exactly.
No. Hold on. It's not a wolf, guys. It's not a wolf. It's actually the moon coming between the Earth and the sun, I reckon.
Yeah, I'd do the other thing. I'd be like, if I'm gonna die, I'd rather die proving that there's nothing wrong. I will stand out in the field when it happens and show you that we are stronger than the wolf.
Yeah. Okay, you're after some dirt, I suppose.
Whatever you got will do.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to get much dirt this time. So
that's right. You're working the second job this week, aren't you?
Yeah. I whipped up something really quick though. I thought, well, we had dog shaming last week, so how about we have some cat shaming this week?
Oh, I hate cats.
Do you? What did cats ever do to you?
I went back and watched that, but when the people put the notes next to their pet,
yeah. So this week, can you see that? Is that up?
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it the same format as I found. It works better now.
Okay, good. All right. So this week we've got cat shaming. Got a few examples of cat shaming. All right. So first one, I peed on the hamster.
I've never seen a
As you
cat
would.
pee on a hamster. Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay.
Hmm.
Must have been white.
Yeah. I jumped into the bed with a live bat in my mouth and dropped it as a present.
Well, yeah, I've heard of cats doing that to the
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
They'll bring you home
yeah.
presents.
Yeah, I got
When I
it.
was a kid, yeah, I had a cat called Malcolm, of all names.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to bring rabbits and birds and mice and all sorts of things and drop them at the back door. He never actually brought them inside. I think he probably would have brought them inside if he could, but it was always at the back door, and then he'd meow and present it to you as a present. You know, like, gee, I love you so much. This is what I brought you. Then you go to take it off him, and he'd growl at you and go,
Yeah. I got a bird delivered yesterday, but they decided that I wasn't listening, so they brought it right in behind me. And then when I didn't even see it, they started flicking it around the house. I'm like, oh, great. Well, that's a lot of mess. Now I've got to clean up. Thanks to you.
Yeah, they're very cruel too. Like when they get mice, they don't kill them. You know, they just stop them from going anywhere and then throw them in the air, and then they're a bit sadistic like that. Cats.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
No, cat shaming. I ate $4,000 tax refund check.
Ooh.
Oh,
that wouldn't have went down well. That would have not gone down well.
No.
Oh no.
Yeah, but how would you prove that you haven't got the check anymore to get another one?
Yeah.
Yeah, my cat ate it. Yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my cat ate
right.
it. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We've heard that one before.
I got stuck on a shelf and pooped down a 10-foot wall. Down a 10-foot wall.
Oh, that would have been messy.
Yeah. Yep. I put a half-dead mouse in Mum's mouth because she was not waking up to look at it.
Oh.
Yuck.
Oh.
No.
Probably had no bloody head.
No, it was half dead.
That'd wake you up pretty quick, I reckon. Yeah.
Jesus.
I nibbled on 5 of Mum's muffins while they were on the cooling rack and tried to eat a 6th one on the kitchen floor, making a big mess. Oh, yeah.
I wonder if cats feel guilty like dogs do.
No.
No, they don't. Cats have no guilt chip inside them.
Yeah.
They've got their guilt circuits turned off. I ate Advil and cost $2,000 in vet bills. Oh, dear. Yeah. I know.
What would Advil do to the cat?
Are extremely dangerous for cats.
Oh, Advil
and dogs. Yeah. Yep.
I had to get its stomach pumped or something. Who knows what they had to do?
Yeah. I know things like grapes are toxic to dogs in particular, and onions as well.
Wow.
Yeah, causes some kidney failure in dogs apparently. I bit my owner on the rear while she was bending to clean the litter box.
Why?
Yep.
You're doing the cat a favour, and the cat bites you.
Yeah, that's just what they do.
I haven't been bitten in the rear, but I've been bitten on the back of the calf.
Yeah.
I was wearing shorts, so it was
I've had claws sunk into the back of my calf.
Well, that was the thing. The cat jumped up with the claws to then bite me, so he pierced me a little bit with the claws, and I was doing the same thing, cleaning the litter box.
It was playing, was it? Or
I was just I don't know. It just jumped up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how cats like running and chasing the laser spot.
Yes.
Yeah. One of my mates had the laser spot going, and he was making the cat run around the room. And of course, the fun thing to do is make the laser spot go up the back of someone else, so the cat runs up your back.
Yeah.
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 I somehow got the lid off the urn. Then I sneezed on Grandma's ashes.
Oh.
That isn't quite clever. Got the lid off without knocking it over. That's good.
Yeah. I beat up the dog. Now every time he sees me, he cries for help. All the dogs in the neighbourhood are scared of me. Oh, yeah.
That's a scary looking cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
That cat was contemplating. You see that? It was
Yeah.
scary.
This one does look sorry too. I'm sorry I ate 54 hair elastics and needed 2 surgeries.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah. 54 of them.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah, you think after the first one they didn't realise it tasted any good?
Pretty lucky that it survived, actually.
Yeah. They would have had trouble throwing the cat out every time. Every time they threw the cat out the door, it bounced back in.
Yeah, that cat's learned its lesson.
Yeah. Every time my mum gets a new sweater, I make love to it. Well, I diligently perform cat opera at 4 a.m.
Oh, 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, that'd go down well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's usually when, like, if your cat's outside at night, that's usually when they find another cat and they sit there on the fence going... Yeah. I ruined Mum's bath, sat on the candle, lit my ass on fire.
Oh. Damn.
That's a different phrase on hot pussy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, Terry, that was unexpected there. Fair play to you.
Yeah. I got my head stuck in a trash bin, trying to eat the plastic liner. Then I tried to escape through the cat door. From embarrassment, I got stuck again.
What, cat's fat?
Yes. Cat flat. You know.
Well, it would have been it would have had the lid on its head, trying to get through.
Oh, yeah, the head was stuck on the trash bin. Yeah.
Yeah. I steal keyboard keys.
What? The actual keys off the keyboard? Jeez, them out.
Probably hooks under it and flicks it up.
How on earth did he get it out?
Yeah. I poop on the rug when I'm angry.
Oh.
Well, that's only one thing. Don't make him angry.
Yeah, don't make the cat angry.
That's kind of what my cat looks like. Can
you read that?
I punched this cat. Yeah, I punched this cat in the face until he lets me eat his dinner or her dinner, even after I've already been fed. Yeah, you can't have some other animal eating, not while I'm around.
Yeah, I noticed my cat getting real fat, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then I realized that the younger cat would leave some of its food, and then the cat would go back and eat again, and then and then the other one would come and cry, and I'm like, "I already fed you," not realizing that half of its food's been eaten by the other cat.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We've stopped that now.
Yeah. I got into Thermofax, Dad's Thermofax paper.
Oh. Oh, that would have went everywhere.
Yeah, it's got a lot of...
Poor little thing. It was probably trying to clean itself and it put it all over its face.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's all over the washing machine or whatever it is there.
Yeah. I peed on the hairdryer and now it blows hot cat piss scented air.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing worse.
Oh, that would be horrible, man. Jeez.
Mummy's boyfriend just moved in and I threw up on his laptop and shoes. Welcome to the family.
Oh, no. You need the other cat to clean it by removing the keyboard keys.
Yeah. I love to scoot my poo butt all over the house. Once I butt scooted on Mum's favourite jeans while she was still wearing them. Oh, yuck.
I can't see. You can't see what the cat's sitting on for another one underneath it.
Yeah, it's got another message under it.
Yeah.
Didn't want us to see that one.
Yeah. I like to hump blankets and stare at you while I do it. Oh, that's creepy.
Creepy looking cat.
That's like that dog one. Yeah. The other
Cool
way
colour,
around though.
Yeah. What, the dog that knocked over the priest and humped his leg?
No, the one that the dog used to like to watch.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I am the reason we don't get the security deposit back.
Well, that's the blind. Yeah, that's why the blind. Well, the blinds.
Yeah,
are
look at the blinds all missing.
Yeah. Oh, you're home. By the way, someone threw up on the carpet. Don't worry, I ate it.
I ate it. Oh.
How fat that cat is.
Yeah, I used to have a cat once and like you'd feed it and he'd just gulp it down like as fast as he possibly could and not stop. And then he'd feel too full or something and he'd just throw it back up. So you had to feed him in small little bits and more often.
Yeah. Oh.
I like to play in the bathroom. Today I discovered toilet paper.
Yeah. Oh,
yep, they love
paper.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You can't let any hang down.
Yeah. Yeah. I've dealt with that a lot.
My name is Elliot, and I fell off the fridge this morning and landed on my mum's head. Then I peed on her.
You ever seen one of those cats things where you put a cucumber or something behind them, and when they turn around, they freak out and run away real quick?
Yeah, yeah. The chickens outside say, "We paid $1 for this." She could have at least shaved.
Oh. Well, they'd have to be
blurring the lines here.
They were roosters, not chickens.
Yeah. Yeah. I peed in my mum's underwear drawer.
Good work.
Yeah. I fart on mummy's face when she's lying on the couch and then run away. Yep.
Sabotage.
I would run away too. And that's what I've got for you for that.
Oh.
Only a little one today.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's enough cats that I can put up with.
Let us now get up something else.
What are we finishing up on tonight? I better go and have a look at that while you're doing that.
Sure.
We've got Blue's laser thing if you just want to sit there and watch that for the... Oh, well, no, I don't think so. I don't think think I've got anything to finish up on after this. Might call it an early one tonight after we do the quiz.
Well, your brain will hurt after the quiz, so you've got no nice videos for us, have you, Terry?
Yeah, that's what I was just looking for, to see what we had to finish up on.
Yeah. All right, well, today's quiz, some people might find it hard, some people might find it easy. It's all about physics today. No mixed questions, just physics today. There's some calculations to do for those that like doing calculations as well.
Oh, who's our physics maths out the peanuts? Yeah. We've got a few of them out there that are in contention.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Let me put up the first question then. Okay, the first question. Electric current. This is a general knowledge sort of question in physics. Electric current may be expressed in which one of the following units? A, coulombs per volt. B, joules per coulomb. C, coulombs per second. Or D, ohms per second. Which one expresses electric current?
I've never heard of coulombs before. Never heard of that. I've heard of all the other words.
Do you know what a coulomb is?
Yeah, I've never heard of all.
Do you know what
that word?
Okay. A coulomb is a quantity of electric charge, Terry.
That could be classed as a clue, actually.
Yeah, it probably could be.
Well, I'm going to go for that. I think... I wonder if that word's got... I don't know. It's going to be a guess. You went for that, Sheepy. I went for that one.
Oh, we've got Clive. We've got Clive in the chat.
Oh, Clive's out there.
Yeah, so you could choose to copy Clive, Terry.
Yeah, I can't now. I've already answered maybe the wrong one there.
Yeah.
Clive, can you DM me your answers before you put yours? So it doesn't look like I'm cheating.
There's your thing. You can actually look it up in the table now. So you'll get your answer from there. So you'll find if you look down that total current, given the symbol I, is measured in coulombs per second. So it's the amount of charge flowing per second. That's the electric current.
I'm glad I didn't copy off Sheepy.
Kind of. Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't either, Terry.
Yeah.
I realized after that it was to do with resistance, but you know.
In the SI system of measure, what is the unit of capacitance? SI is the metric system. That's the international system of units where they use meters, seconds, kilograms for their base units. Not this silly like feet and inches and pounds and miles and stuff. The unit of capacitance. You know, it was actually in the table that I brought up just before. So.
Oh shit! I can cheat. Oh no, I can't. I mean, I can, but I can't. Oh, shit.
Yeah, we've got some correct answers out in the peanuts.
I saw that, so I can't write anything.
Yeah. There you go, Terry. Now you should know.
Oh, that word. I've never heard of that F word. That F word.
It's the F word, Farad.
Yeah.
Probably named after Faraday.
Oh, yeah, it comes after Faraday.
Yeah.
The first time I heard the word capacitance, I can't even say it. Capacitance, but was in the movie Demolition Man, where he says when he takes off the he steals the wand from the police officer with his knives, and he takes off the fuel tank lid, and he goes, "That's pure capacitance gel," and then boom, and the whole thing explodes. So
Okay.
it didn't save me. It helped me, did it?
No.
No. So it is measured in farads. And if you were to get a 1 farad capacitor, that's a pretty huge capacitance. Most capacitors are in microfarads or nanofarads. So a one farad capacitor could be thought of more like a battery rather than a capacitor. And they do actually use them as backup batteries in some systems. Yeah. Okay, question 3. A Newton is equal to which one of the following?
Yep.
Is it a kilogram meter per second? Is it a meter per second squared? Is it a kilogram meter per second squared? Or is it a kilogram per meter second?
I know it, but I don't know it. I know what... I think it's... I just never heard it explained in those...
All right, there's a hint.
Should have waited for the hint.
Yeah, I think I should have waited for the hint because I wasn't sure about the squared part. That's the...
Have you ever heard of that famous equation, Terry? F equals ma. Surely you've heard of that.
Yeah, F equals ma.
Yeah.
Force equals meters per second.
Mass times acceleration. Yeah. So if you multiply those two units together there, what do you get? Mass in kilograms multiplied by acceleration in meters per second squared gives you kilograms meters per second squared, which is C.
What'd you go for, Sheepy? B?
Yeah, I just never... For some reason, I thought it was in pounds.
And that, well, you can do it in pounds, but the Newton is actually defined as 1 kilogram being accelerated. It's the force required to accelerate 1 kilogram to 1 meter per second. Okay, and that's what 1 Newton would be. Okay, all right. Question 4. For an object moving in uniform circular motion, so that's something going in a circle, right? The direction of the instantaneous acceleration vector is which way? Is it tangent to the path of motion? Yeah, Terry, what?
I was just going to say, don't forget the peanuts when you get the questions right or not.
Yeah, okay. All right. So is it tangent to the path of motion? Is it equal to 0? Is it directed radially outward, or is it directed radially inward? Think about that. We've got something moving in a circle. Something's got to be keeping it going in a circle. Remember, acceleration is not only things getting faster or slower, it's also things changing direction. And if you want to make something go in a circle, which way do you have to make it change direction? All right, we've got a mixed batch of answers coming out in the peanuts.
I'm waiting for the clue.
Okay. You'll get it when you get the clue. We've got some correct answers in the peanuts and some incorrect answers. All right, there's the clue. That should tell you.
Yeah, I've seen this before, but have seen this before.
Unless you put a force sideways on it, it's going to keep going in a straight line, isn't it? Okay. And so you need to put a force sideways to turn it to go in the circle. And because the acceleration is always in the direction of the force that you apply, or the net force you apply, it turns out that the acceleration in circular motion is towards the center of the circle. So it would be D, directed radially inward. Think of it like a piece of string swinging a stone around your head, okay? You're pulling that string towards yourself, all right, to make the stone go in a circle around your head. Okay. Question 5. A boy is standing on an elevator. I suggest he's probably standing in an elevator, which is traveling downward with a constant velocity of 30 meters per second. All right, so it's not accelerating, it's not getting fast, it's not in free fall, it's just going down at 30 meters per second. The boy throws a ball vertically upward with a velocity of 10 meters per second relative to the elevator. What is the velocity of the ball, magnitude and direction needed, relative to the elevator shaft the instant the boy releases the ball? Okay.
Oh, you've got the relative to the elevator shaft in there too.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's the answer I want, relative to the elevator shaft. So imagine what you could be doing is having the elevator doors open and someone on the floor outside, you know, on a particular floor. And as the elevator goes past, the boy throws the ball up at 10 meters per second. What's the person standing on the floor outside the elevator going to see the ball doing?
I reckon it. Like, yeah. I'll have to type some of it. Ball. That's part of it. That's what you wanted to know about that one. I don't know about the velocity.
Speed will cancel out.
And magnitude. No, because you got the 30 and 20, or the 10, yeah.
Yeah, it's only going 10, it's going 30. So
you've also got the...
If it's going 10, then it can't be going 30 down because it's going 10 up, so 20.
Yeah. There's how you add vectors together. But in this case, the vectors are in opposite directions. You've got 30 going down, and then you've got 10 going back up in the other direction. And so the resultant would be 20 in the downwards direction. It's kind of like the 10 going up cancels out 10 of the going down, and you're left with 20 going down, almost.
Well,
so yeah,
but when you gave me that
you can't stop the 10 because the 10's its own velocity. What's its own speed? So.
Yeah.
Oh, velocity was right.
From when I read it,
and the key, the key to the question too is we're asking for the instantaneous velocity. Of course, if you wait 4 or 5 seconds, the ball's going to be doing a completely different velocity because yes, gravity is a thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Terry? You got on board with that?
Well, I wrote an answer in the internal to do with when you gave the analogy of as the elevator's going down and the person threw the ball up. What would the ball look like to that person? And to me, the ball would look like it'd be going down.
To the person in the elevator, it looked like he's throwing it up because that's his frame of reference. But for the person standing outside looking into the elevator as it's going past and the boy throws the ball up, the ball will still be going down.
Yeah, that's what I said. The ball will look going down.
That's right. Yep. Cool. Good. Question 6. Work. Now, we're talking about we're not talking about the things that flat earthers can't do here, but work in the sense of physics, definition of work, is equal to which of the following? Is it the cross product of force and displacement? Is it the product of force times time? Is it the force divided by time? Or is it the dot product of force and displacement? This one's a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've never heard of something called a cross product and a dot product, they are ways of two separate ways of multiplying vector quantities together. Okay. One of those results in a vector answer, and the other one results in a scalar answer. So in other words, one of those, the cross product, results in an answer that has both magnitude and direction, and it is a vector. The other one, the dot product, results in an answer that only has a magnitude but no direction. So think about what kind of quantity work might be. Does work have a direction, or does it not have a direction?
Are we talking like the same work as entropy?
Yeah, in the sense of thermodynamics.
The amount of
work done.
Work done, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't.
There's a hint. There is a really big hint in there, especially in the first line. And of course, Clive, as we would expect, has got it 100% correct. Right? If you're actually doing it properly, you integrate the force with respect to the direction. All right, the distance gone, f dot dx. So it's the force vector multiplied by the distance vector there. So it's a dot product. It is answer D, the dot product of the force and displacement. All right. Here we go.
Again, what you're talking about, the hint, the dot in the first line.
Yes, that's right. It's literally a dot. Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, as defined in physics, work is, now you should know this one already since I've just spoken about it. As defined in physics, work is it a scalar quantity, always a positive quantity, a vector quantity, or always zero? Remember, a scalar quantity is a quantity that has no direction, it just has magnitude. And a vector quantity is something that has a size, a magnitude, and a direction.
Oh, Terry didn't answer the last one, so.
No.
So my answer's, and I say duh.
Duh. Duh.
Yeah. Put some dots next to it.
All right, there you go, Terry. You can find it in that list. And if you work your way down and find where work is in those lists, you'll see that it's in the list of scalar quantities. Like I said before, the dot product gives you a scalar result. And so it is a scalar quantity. Makes no sense to say 10 joules of work in the south direction. It's not something that, makes sense. All right, question 8. A pendulum which is suspended from the ceiling of a railroad car is observed to hang at an angle of 10 degrees to the right of vertical. Which of the following answers could explain this phenomenon? Is the railroad car at rest? Is the railroad car accelerating to the left? Is the railroad car moving with constant velocity to the right? Or is the railroad car accelerating to the right?
This one's pretty easy.
So what would make the pendulum swing that way?
Yeah. It's not a balloon, it's a pendulum. If it was a balloon, it'd be different.
Yeah. So you're facing the vertical and it's going right.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, it could be a plumb bob, a pendulum plumb bob.
It has to be this one then.
All right, what did Sheila put?
Put the same answer as me.
Yeah, well done.
So these one I can imagine in my head.
Yeah. The ones we can work out in our heads, the ones we can work out.
Yeah.
Milkman Dan said.
Yes, and we've got the correct answers coming. Got the correct answers coming through in the peanut chat. So there's a diagram. I couldn't find a railroad car diagram.
Yeah, same thing.
With the limited time I had, so that's the same sort of thing there. And here the pendulum is swinging to the left, but it doesn't matter.
No.
You get the gist of what's going on here anyway.
Yeah.
And the correct answer is that the railroad car is accelerating to the left.
Yeah, we're getting these ones pretty well right, Sheepy, but the other ones.
Yeah, good. The calculating ones are hard, hey?
Yeah. Well, this is actually tells you how they work out how much freight can go on a truck. Because it's going to shift inside in its own weight and all the rest of it when they're testing things.
John had to get technical.
What did John say?
But is the railroad car level?
Is it a railroad car level? Yeah. It might be going up a hill, mightn't it? Yeah. Okay. Question 9. Two forces have magnitudes of 11 newtons and 5 newtons. The magnitude of their sum could not be equal to which of the following values? 16, 5, 9, or 7 newtons. So there's one answer there that it could not be. The other three answers it could possibly be. Now, a big hint here would be that it's obviously possible to add the two forces together, 11 plus 5, to get 16. It's obvious that you can take one from the other, 11 minus 5, to get 7. So now you've got to choose between 5 and 9.
We'll try that one, Sheepy.
Right, there's a diagram for how you add vector forces. (11 minus 5 is 6. You're correct. That makes this question a bit silly then, doesn't it? Because that should have been a 6, not a... Oh, well, no, you can still get the 7. E. Milton Dad puts E, the answer.
Eek.
Clive Wells has given a very good description of what it is. Hopefully, you would have put the correct answer, which is B, because there's no way that you can get something that's less than 6, because the smallest force, right there, if you take that away from 11, you get 6. You can't take away enough to get down to 5. right? But you can put them at an angle to each other so that the resulting force is 7 or is 9, depending on what angle you put them at to each other to add them together.
Yeah,
Okay?
I was thinking you couldn't ever get rid of one force, so it couldn't be the sum of just one. That's how I came up with it.
Yeah. Okay, question 10. A ball leaves a girl's hand with an upward velocity of 6 meters per second. What is the maximum height of the ball above the girl's hand? So this requires you to know a little bit about how some physics works to be able to calculate this. All right, so to give you a hand, we'll give you some equations over here that you might want to use. All right. These are known as the Suvat equations. So S for displacement, U for the initial velocity, V for the final velocity, A for the acceleration, and T for the time. So what you need to do is look at the question and determine what quantities you have as information in the question and what quantity you want to find out. And pick an equation that has those things in. Each of those equations has 4 quantities in it. You need to pick one that has 3 known quantities and one of the unknowns that you want to find, and then rearrange it to get the answer. So you're looking for the height, that's S. The equation has to have S in it. You also know that the ball leaves the girl's hand with an upward velocity of 6, that's U. You also know that at its maximum height, it, what? Has a velocity of 0 because it stops and then starts coming back down. And you also know the acceleration because that's the acceleration because of gravity. Now, if I was giving this question to a flat earther, we'd also have to give them the density of the air and the density of the object, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And they still wouldn't be able to answer it. All right. So we're looking for an equation that's got U, V, S, and A in it. And that would be the second equation. All right. So what that means is that we put 0 in for V, the final velocity. That means 0 there. 0 equals, and then we have U squared, which is 6 squared, so that's 36. And then we have a minus 2 times, let's just say 10 for the acceleration due to gravity. You could put it as 9.8, but 10 is easier to calculate. And so the 2 times 10 times S. Why have I put a minus instead of a plus there? Because the acceleration is acting in the downwards direction. And if we define upwards as being positive, then that would be a negative acceleration. Okay, so if we rearrange that equation, we get 36 on one side and we get 20 times S on the other side. And so we just do 36 divided by 20, which would give us, anyone know? Around about 1.8 meters. Okay, so 1.8 meters, which doesn't seem very far if you're throwing up a ball at 10 meters per second, only 1.8 meters. So gravity is reasonably strong. Clive got it right.
Dan actually wrote 1.8, so I don't know. Where's your calculation, Dan?
All right. So that was a tough one. If you don't know anything about constant acceleration formulas, that would have been a tough one. But it just goes to show that using appropriate physics, we can calculate these things. Flat earthers? No. A boy throws a ball vertically upward with a velocity of 6 meters per second. How long does it take the ball to return to the boy's hand? So this is the same sort of question. So we're going to give you the same formulas, okay, in a different graphic this time. But they're the same formulas. This time you've got to calculate how long it takes to go up and come back down. 6 meters per second. So what do we know in this question?
We know that the ball can get 1.8 meters before it reaches zero.
If you throw it to 10 meters per second upwards, but this is only 6 meters per second upwards. Okay.
Wasn't the last question 6?
The last one was 6 as well.
Oh, was it? Yeah, it was too, because 6 squared is 36. You're right. You're correct. Yeah, so you know that it goes up 1.8 meters. Well, you've got an extra bit of information there, haven't you? Roughly. So you know that it will go up, it will stop, and then it will come back down. It will basically be the mirror image of the motion coming down than it did on the way up. So it will slow down to a stop on the way up, and then it will accelerate to 6 meters per second on the way back down again if we ignore air resistance. So you're looking for something, a formula that's got time in it this time.
Is it the third one?
Yeah, so here you've got, you've got the initial, you don't need to go quite that complicated. Distance equals velocity times time. Second one there, V equals V naught plus AT. Okay, so that one there, we know that it starts off at 6 meters per second and it ends up at 0 meters per second, and we know the acceleration. Okay, so you know the difference in the velocities. If you subtracted V naught from V on the other side, the difference in velocities is 6 meters per second. And you know that the acceleration, let's take it as 10, all right? If you take it as 10, then you divide that, so 6 divided by 10 is 0.6. It will take 0.6 of a second to get up and 0.6 of a second to come back down. And when you add those two together, you would get 1.2 seconds around. It'll be a slightly different answer if you use 9.8 as the acceleration, but it'll be around about that answer, okay? So the answer is around about 1.2 seconds.
That's cool.
There you go. All right. Another one. Oh, what's going on here? We seem to have... Oh, well, you've got to... sometimes the screen doesn't show properly and I had to click again. And now you've got a hint, haven't you? Good.
Oh,
a
yeah,
toy
sure.
train. Yeah. A toy train moves in a circle of 8 meters radius with a speed of 4 meters per second. What is the magnitude of the acceleration of the train? Well, you've been given the formula over here, so it's just a matter of substituting in the right things.
Oh.
You got an answer, Sheeple?
No, like I was thinking in one way, and then I looked at the diagram, and then And then I realized it's different because it's not the whole circle. It's just the radius all the time. So I gotta get my calculator.
Oh, you're serious? You don't need a calculator for this. Have a look at the equation over on the side. And it says the centripetal acceleration is equal to the velocity squared divided by the radius, r. Okay? So you've been given both of those quantities in the question, the velocity being 4 meters per second. So if we square that, we get 16, and then divide by the radius. Well, the radius was 8 meters. 16 divided by 8 is 2.
2.
So the acceleration is 2 meters per second squared. This acceleration is in meters per second squared.
So what's the AC there at the beginning?
That stands for the acceleration, and the subscript C just indicates that it's centripetal acceleration, that it's directed towards the center of the circle. Okay.
That was what's throwing me in the beginning.
Yeah,
I don't know if it meant
in the
times
diagram.
C. I'm looking for C. I'm like, what's C?
No, in the diagram there, you can see that the green arrow is pointing towards the center of the circle. That's the centripetal acceleration. Okay, so the answer, and Clive, of course, got it right, was 2 meters per second squared. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. He's learning a bit of physics tonight.
I
Question
just wish I had a few
13.
drinks before.
Yeah. All right, question 13.
Stupid shit.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. A certain machine exerts a force of 200 newtons on a box whose mass is 30 kilograms. The machine moves the box a distance of 20 meters along a horizontal floor. What amount of work does the machine do on the box? So this goes to how you calculate work. For those that want a little bit of a hint, here you go.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Okay.
We'll just give the peanuts a chance to get their answers in.
200 newtons on a box. Mass is 30.
So if you're not familiar how to use this triangle, you look at the quantity that you want to calculate, and the other two quantities are what you need to use to calculate it. And the symbol in between them is what you do with those two quantities. So if we want to calculate the work, we have to know the force and the distance. All right. And we multiply those two together. So you extract that information from the question and multiply them together, and you'll get your answer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm pretty sure, Clive, that that work's not measured in kilowatts. Power is measured in watts, but not work. Oops. Okay, so the key
I did
here
force times distance divided by work. I mean,
no, you don't need to divide. It's just work, and the other two quantities are force and distance. All right. So the force is 200 newtons, and the distance is 20 meters. So 200 times 20 gives you 4,000. What's it measured in? Work is energy, so it's measured in joules. Okay,
Oh,
4,000 joules.
I got 4,000, and then I saw
Yep,
the divide,
cool.
and I was like, oh, I'm going to divide it by 30, so I got it wrong. But
no, okay. Now you know. Okay, so there you go. All right.
Yeah, I didn't know actually what the unit was that we were trying to reach. That was
yeah. Correct answer, Clive, but wrong units. And he said, as he said, he spotted it. He spotted it just as I said it. Right, good. A box is initially at rest on an horizontal and level frictionless
Say level
table.
one more time.
Horizontal is level. A box is initially at rest on a horizontal frictionless table. If a force of 10 newtons acts on the box for 3 seconds, what is the momentum of the box at the end of the 3-second interval? Okay.
Okay.
So momentum. What is momentum? Anyone know?
Momentum.
Yeah. Do you know how to calculate momentum?
Inertia.
Yeah, that's another word we kind of use for a little bit sometimes.
It's the force that.
Mm-hmm.
The force that remains.
Momentum in physics, if we look in only one dimension, is just the mass of an object multiplied by its velocity. Okay, so how fast it's going and what mass it has, and of course it is in the same direction as the velocity. It's a vector quantity, so you can say that it goes in the direction of the velocity. So mass times velocity, but here we've been given a force and a time. And in physics, when we use force acting over a certain period of time, we call that an impulse. It's the same thing as momentum, all right? So an impulse can be used to give something momentum, and they're equivalent. Okay.
Okay.
So to calculate the momentum change, you just need to multiply the force by the time. So that would be
30.
10 newtons times 3 seconds gives you 30 newton seconds. Or in the other momentum units, 30 kilogram meters per second. So the answer is 30. Okay, question 15. A block of this one's a tough one for those that really, this one's a bit tougher. A block of metal which weighs 60 newtons in air and 40 newtons underwater has a density in kilograms per meter cubed of what? So you take this metal cube and you weigh it in the air and it weighs 60 newtons. And then you then dunk it in water. Let's say you're using a spring balance, and the spring balance now reads 40 newtons. How dense is that cube of metal? You can assume that the water has the standard density of 1 gram per cubic centimetre, or 1,000 kilograms per cubic metre. I like Melbourne Dan's answer. Very dense.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hold on.
To help you a little bit with this one, think about it. It's the buoyancy force which is making the cube seem lighter when you put it in the water. So there's a buoyancy force of 20 newtons acting upwards. Okay, and that's what's making the weight of the cube now 40 instead of 60. Okay. Buoyancy, you calculate buoyancy by, remember, it's the density of the fluid that you've submersed the cube in, multiplied by its volume, multiplied by the acceleration due to gravity, which, if we take as 10, makes it easy to calculate. So think about that, that you know that the buoyancy force is 20, all right, and that has to equal the density of the water, which is 1,000 kilograms, right, per cubic meter, multiplied by G, which is 10. So now we've got a 10,000 on that side, and multiplied by the volume, which we want to know. So if we've got 20 equals 10,000, right, times V, then we rearrange that to get the volume is equal to 20 divided by 10,000, and that gives you 0.002, I think. You could then calculate the actual density of the cube by knowing that the density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. And you know that in ordinary air, it weighs 60 newtons. Weight equals mass times acceleration due to gravity. 60 equals m times 10. So it must be 6 kilograms. So now if you do 6 kilograms divided by 0.002, you get 3,000 kilograms per cubic meter. So the answer is 3,000 kilograms per cubic meter. It is B. That would be the toughest question on the quiz tonight. All right. Milkman Dan says, Clive's cheating though. He's using his brain. I don't have access to his brain. This contest is rigged from the start. Yeah.
I have to go back over that one. Because
yeah.
the equation was derived from known equations. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Question 16. A 10 kilogram body initially moving with a velocity of 10 meters per second makes a head-on collision with a 15 kilogram body initially at rest. The two objects stick together. What is the velocity of the combined system just after the collision? Okay. So they crash into each other and they move off as one object after they've collided. The principle in physics that you're looking for here is a thing called conservation of momentum. So the momentum is conserved. So you look at the total momentum of the system before, and then you look at the total momentum of the system after, and they must be the same. Remembering that momentum is mass times velocity. So the thing at rest is not going to have any momentum, but the thing moving is. All right.
Oh, damn it. I've had this one tennis ball off a train before.
Yeah. Okay. So the 10 kilogram object moving with a velocity of 10 meters per second, its momentum is going to be 10 times 10, which is 100. So that's the amount of momentum we have. That has to be the same after the collision. However, after the collision, we now have an object that weighs how much?
150.
No. It's a 10 kilogram body colliding with a 15 kilogram body. So when they combine, they've got a total mass of 25 kilograms. Okay. And
That's
so
not
now,
moving.
you have that 100 momentum divided by the 25 mass to give you the velocity of 4.
4.
Okay, 4 meters per second. Yeah. So they would have a combined velocity of 4 meters per second. Peter G got it right. Clive got it right. All right. Here's one that you might be able to intuitively guess, Peter, or Sheeple. A certain spring is known to obey Hooke's law. If a force of 10 newtons stretches the spring 2 meters, how far will a 30 newton force stretch the spring? Yeah, this one's a little bit easier. We've got some correct answers on the internal chat. Hooray. And we've got a correct answer on the outside too. It is a very big spring, yes. It might be a slinky.
I thought you'd guess this one straight away, Sheepy.
Must be 6.
Yeah. It's just a linear relationship.
Yeah.
So the answer is 6 meters. Yes.
Well, it says twice as much force to twice as far. So
yep, three times as much force would be 3 times as far. That's right. All right. Question 18. If the distance between 2 objects, each of mass m, is tripled, the force of attraction between the 2 objects is what? Is it half its original force, a third of its original force, a ninth of its original force, or unchanged? So you need to know a little bit about how gravity works here. They're unchanged because they're both the same density still. No.
For
those that don't know, that is the relationship that gives the force between 2 objects of known mass. That's Newton's law of gravitation. And yes, we have some good answers there. The correct answer is, in fact, 1/9 of the original force, because the distance is r squared on the bottom. So if you square the 3, you get 9. All right. And so it's 1/9 of the original force. If the M1 and M2 don't change, still the same masses, but the distance has changed, you need to decrease the force by a factor of 1/9. Question 19. 40-kilogram girl climbs a vertical distance of 5 meters in 20 seconds at a constant velocity. How much work has the girl done? Now remember, we had our definition of work done before being force times distance. You might not know it, but you have been given those 2 quantities here. One of them you need to work out from the information. Take G as 10 if you like. Clive Wells. Depends on the velocity of the ether. The working out of this question actually makes an assumption, and that is that the force of gravity doesn't change much or doesn't change at all over that distance. We know, in fact, that it does, and so the real answer, the correct answer, would in fact be a little bit more complicated to work out. But as far as working out things near the surface of the Earth for short distances, the approximation that the gravity stays about the same is useful. Oh, I've known some girls that can rock climb, definitely. Okay, think about it, that the force that is being exerted on the girl in the downwards direction because of her weight is 40 times 10, which is 400 newtons. That's if we take G as 10 meters per second squared, 400 newtons. So she has to overcome that force over a 5 meter period, 5 meter distance, right? And so 400 times 5 would be 2,000, around about 2,000 joules. If you take G as 9.8, it works out to be a little bit less. It's just the force times the distance, mgh, as you see over here, mass times the acceleration due to gravity times the height that you go. It's called the gravitational potential energy, which is the amount of work that you need to do to lift something up a certain height. And the answer, if you use 9.8, was 1,960 joules.
I got 2,002 different ways.
Yeah.
My first initial way, I did 40. I did 40 times 5 times 10. I mean,
yep.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That is essentially what you're doing. If you use that equation, if you use that equation, the 40 is the mass, the 10 is the G, and the H, the 5. You just multiply all those three together. Cool. Last one. A machine performs 8 joules of work in 2 seconds. How much power is delivered by this machine? So this is a little bit of a different quantity now, power instead of work. I'll give you a hint. Power is the rate at which work is done. Something that's more powerful does work at a faster rate.
So joules is the work.
I like John Rapp's answer for the previous question. What's the humidity refractive index, viewer height, and is the finish point the geometric or apparent point?
So is it, if work is the joules, is it work divided by time?
It is, Sheeple. Very
because
good.
of that triangle we used before, it was W divided by time or divided by force.
Yeah. So power is just work per unit time, or work divided by time. So if you do 8 joules of work in 2 seconds, that's 8 divided by 2 is 4 joules per second, or 4 watts, because the unit joules per second is known as the what? Watts.
So
There
joules
you
per
go.
second is watts. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So joules is a work.
Yep. Joules is the
amount,
amount,
and then
amount
work
of
over
energy.
time
Yep.
is watts.
Yeah, is watts. Yeah, that's right.
No, unless you're talking about family joules, in which case you got a completely different converter factor.
Yeah, that's right.
How you doing, Blue?
Good morning.
Morning, Blue.
Morning. Oh, that was a lot of
Okay.
thinking. I'm
So
going to
that
go
was a
back and
tough-
review this.
Yeah, so that was a tough quiz. I must admit, that was a tough quiz. It was all physics. All right. So shall we do a simpler quiz next time? Or you want another tough one?
I like
one?
that.
Yeah.
Well, I got
hopefully some people learned.
I don't know how I got one right, but anyway.
Yeah. But did you learn anything from it, Terry?
Yeah, I learnt that I know less than what I thought I knew.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Can you send me that PowerPoint so I can look over it?
I usually do. I usually save it on my Google Drive and then put a link in the chat to it. So
That'd be awesome.
I'll do that. All right.
It had
So
a
I will.
lot of handy scenarios that I like to work with.
Yeah. There you go. That was the quiz for the day.
Oh, thank you, Paul.
That was awesome.
You're welcome.
And Blue got at the tail end of it, so you missed out on all the good ones.
Yeah, those weren't that easy.
No, they were quite difficult, some of them. I mean, they are fundamental basic physics, but if you don't know that, then they are difficult to do, yes.
Exactly. And John, it's not only too tough for someone 40 years out of high school, it's also tough for somebody that didn't learn a lot of this sort of stuff in school.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I learned 1 + 1 = 2. I think that was about my limit.
I've been made to feel very stupid before, and it wasn't a nice feeling.
Well, the idea of that wasn't to make people feel stupid. It was just to make people feel that, there's a lot that people do know, and that to be able to explain all the things that we see in the world requires a lot of knowledge and a lot of physics and a lot of chemistry and a lot of biology and a lot of other things as well. And it's not as easy to explain some things as it is to explain other things. And so when people like many flat earthers come along and give these simple explanations for something, you can almost be guaranteed that there is a more complicated explanation out there that describes it in even more detail and more accurately than what they're trying to do.
Like, how could they calculate the girl climbing 5 meters in 20 seconds using the relative density argument?
Yeah, that's the thing. They can't. And on the occasions that I've asked them, like a simple question like, okay, using your relative density, calculate the height that a ball thrown up at 10 meters per second will go.
Can't do it.
And you can't do it.
Professor Phil says high school physics. And you're right, Phil, which is why I'm so glad I went on to college. That high school shit was too damn tough.
Right.
20 was a perfect amount.
It all makes
before
sense.
My brain fried.
It all makes sense when you go through it and learn it.
Yeah, I like the real world examples that I can kind of relate in my head and everything. If it's just a bunch of equations that I can't relate them to anything, I go cross-eyed looking at it.
Well, I asked him, Paul, I asked him one question too, which is one of my viewers put this in my chat one day, or comments. And it's a great question. Tell me how you do this using relative density. If I've got a sphere that's 1 cubic centimeter and it has a weight of 0.8 grams, and I suspend it in fresh water, pure water, at a depth of, say, 1 meter. At the point I release it, which direction does it move, and what is its initial acceleration, its instantaneous acceleration at the time I release it? Work the answer to that problem out using relative density. Thank you. You're done. I can do that quite easily with gravity.
Professor Phil wants to know, can you do a chemistry one? And Clive wants to know, how high does a flurf bounce when you throw them off a 10-story building? Okay.
We need to know whether it's an elastic or an inelastic collision with the ground.
I think we need to know the modulus of rigidity of a flurf.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa. What's going on here?
I even slowed it down to quarter speed.
That's my perpetual motion machine.
It's got 2 dots.
Well, one's a reflection off the glass.
Ah.
There's actually 3. There's one that doesn't move. You can't see it. It's up above. It's a reflection off the front of the glass. And it stays stationary.
Like planet Nibiru.
Yeah. There you go. That thing oscillates forever, as best I can tell.
Yeah. And that's magnified for the distance you said it was, for the feet it was away from the original source. So.
That's representative of 10 times the movement of the end of that 2 meter long, or 2 foot long moment arm of the balance itself. So the movement, that amount of movement is essentially indetectable if you were just down there looking at it. Well, maybe you could see it.
What time was the clock started? 12:30 a.m. or something?
Yeah.
In the AM, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, 12.
Just
before 12. 12 p.m.
And did it reduce? Did it reduce in the
no
on the markers? That it didn't even.
It didn't appear to.
Wow.
That's funny.
I'd have to zoom in on the segments on the ruler to see that.
Yeah, I haven't done that either. That was a curious little test I did. I moved the I moved the large masses into the neutral position, so that they really weren't trying to pull the thing one way or the other, because I wanted to see what the oscillation period was without their influence.
Yeah.
And it actually makes a bigger. It had a bigger change in oscillation frequency than I thought it was going to. It actually changed it by nearly a full minute.
Is it still sitting there doing that now? Waiting to settle?
I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it's out there bouncing around as we speak.
And that's been what that was done on a couple of days ago by the day.
Yeah.
It might take a week, or it might take a week to settle down, even to notice any difference. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to come to a complete stop.
Oh, okay. I thought it had to.
You can.
Okay.
We can figure out what the mean is around that oscillation. And when it gets down to, if it gets down to a point like that, where every oscillation is from peak to peak is 5 millimeters. That's really simple. You just take half of that, just take the middle point.
I did point that out before, John Rapp, about that. Have you done anything about your cameras and stuff yet?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
Mostly, I just wanted to spend a few weeks playing with this thing to get to know how it behaves.
Mm.
The cameras are going to help me document it, but that's about all. I mean, they don't really aid in the measurement of anything all that much.
No, they're just a document.
Yeah, I use the DSLR works really, really well for looking at the deflection. Might find a little better looking way to present it.
Well, I don't have anything else to do, so we might finish up. We're coming up onto nearly 4 hours already. Time flies. I suppose we took a bit longer doing that video that I played did go for a little bit longer than I thought. We seem to have had a good crowd turn up. Thanks. Charles Augustin D. Coulomb, and who was he again, Paul?
He was the one that figured out Coulomb's law, the force between charged objects.
Using a torsion balance, I might add.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Sheepy, for turning up again tonight. I haven't seen you for a couple of episodes.
Yeah, no worries, Jerry. I learned a lot.
Well, I hope somebody learned something at some point. Thanks, Blue, for coming in late.
Yeah. Glad I caught you before you left.
Yeah, well, just about to. Wasn't far off. Who'd we have out there? Heat Shield. Phil was out there. I think he came in late, or he answered late on one of the questions. Clive, John. I don't know who went the best out there in the quiz. Fred, John, Fondle, Fred. I know somebody was going pretty good out there with their equations. Peter G. I've seen Peter G before. Not for a while though. Milkman Dan. Mandelbrot Set. I'm going to miss somebody. I think I've seen Dave Cannabis out there. Cubatech. Clive. Boggs was there earlier. Dartman. Elmigs. Peter was out there earlier too. Yeah. Okay then. Why is that still not catching up out there in the YouTubes? What's going on here? Oh, no wonder. Forgot to fix that up. There. I was wondering what was going on then. I didn't fix up the YouTube. Okay then, what's probably see you on Saturday. I don't know. Don't think I'll be streaming again between now and then. No, today is Saturday. Monday.
You're really not with it, are you, Terry?
No, I got no idea. I was thinking today was Wednesday for some reason. No, the days blend into one another sometimes. You don't know what day's what. I know Farmer wants me to do a Monday, so I might whip one up on Monday and then just see what happens. For those that miss out on other nights, but it'll be an earlier one in the afternoon. We'll see if Farmer wants to join that one. Okay then. We'll wind up. We'll say goodbye. Okay, good night, panel. Good night, Peanuts.
Good night, Peanuts.
Good night, Peanuts.
Don't have a special nut tonight.
All the nuts are special.